Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a Global AI Leadership Summit, a virtual edition number one. Okay. So thank you very much for joining the session today. So we have some incredible speakers to lined up to give their insights in the AI transformation. Just before we start our with the keynote speaker, I would like to give a just quick introduction about the program. Okay, so we all know that artificial intelligence is no longer an experimental or any research. So it's a real now shaping the organizations and the strategy of global organizations and touching everybody in the universe. So Global AI Leadership Summit is an exclusive forum designed for decision makers to navigate AI governance, workforce transformation, and sustainable competitive advantage. Okay. So this structured leadership dialogue will focus on turning AI strategy into enterprise execution, building responsible and scalable AI governance models, preparing the workforce of AI driven transformations, the creating measurable strategic advantage in a competitive global market. Okay, so this is not just another AI hype session. This is a leadership conversation for clarity, control, and competitive edge. Now, I would like to talk about very quickly about the sponsor. So the program, we are proud sponsor of the program. Through strategy, business growth is an application for enterprise strategy management, helping organizations for all the levels of strategy management, which includes strategy analysis, strategy formulation, strategy translation, and then you have a strategy execution and transformation. So Fru strategy is a enterprise strategy management solution. Okay, we talk more during this session today. So I would like to welcome if the Pasar is in the call, Jyoti, if you can just check with the Pasar. Yeah. Mhm. So just we are just waiting for our first guest speaker to join us. Adapasar, please join us if you are able to make it very quickly. So just to give you a highlights about the program before Mr. Adapa joined the session as a speaker. So what we do today is we have like 5 sessions today. Each will be for 30 minutes and followed by some few questions for 10 minutes. So make sure that you can write your comments on in LinkedIn or in YouTube. So you can post questions, and then we make sure that these questions are discussed as far as possible and answered them. Okay. So this is the program for today, and welcome. I would like to welcome Mr. Adapa Sharad Kumarji, and then let me give a quick introduction. Okay, so today Mr. Adapa Sharad Kumar is talking about humanizing AI, shaping the fifth industrial revolution. Okay, so just to give you an idea, Adapa Sharad Kumar is a seasoned board leader with 30 plus years of cross-sector experience, including 25 years in senior leadership role. He is currently serving multiple boards across healthcare, education, technology, and industrial sectors. Okay, bringing rare cross-industry perspective to his clients. So he is known for driving strategic clarity, strengthening governance, and guiding organizations through growth and transformation. So I take this a pride to introduce Mr. Nadapa Sharad Kumar for the first session to talk about. Yes, sir. Over to you.
Yeah,
Welcome on the
yeah.
board, and hope you are able to hear us. We can hear you and see you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks, Kadir sir, and I'm extremely thankful to Strategy and Data Labs for giving me this opportunity to speak something on a topic which is extremely relevant to this today's world actually, and actually which is going through a lot of upheavals these days. So we can see how in the news every day how apart from what we call technological disruption, we also have geopolitical issues now to tackle with. So let's start. Yeah,
Mhm. Over to you, sir. You can enjoy the session. I keep watching you. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah. So I just start with. Let me begin with a simple thought. We are not just entering an age of artificial intelligence. We are entering an age of augmented decision making. Every industrial revolution changed how we work. This one is different. It is changing how we decide, judge, and govern. And that makes it not just a technological shift, but a leadership inflection point. Today, nearly 70% of the organizations are experimenting with AI. And yet, the real question is not how fast we adopt it. It is how prepared we are to take responsibility for its outcomes. Because AI at its core is artificial, but the prompt, the intent, the accountability, everything is deeply human. Which brings me to the central idea I want to explore today. AI will not define the future. The way we choose to deploy it will define the future. We often ask, what can AI do? How fast can it scale? But perhaps the most important question is, what kind of world are we building as it scales? Because AI does not just optimize efficiency, it amplifies intent. If there is bias, it will scale bias. If there is inclusion, it will scale inclusion. And if there is a lack of governance, it will scale risk at a speed you can't even imagine or you have never seen before. Which is why I believe the real evolution in AI is not technological, it's governance led. In this decade, competitive advantage will not come from AI, access to AI, it will come from the judgment to govern it responsibly. So today, I will not speak about AI as a tool, I will speak about AI as a test of leadership, a test of our intent, our accountability, our and ultimately humanity. Because the defining question of this decade is not how advanced will AI become, it is how advanced will our humanity become as we build it. Thank you. Let's begin. Next slide, please. Every industrial revolution restructured the society. The first one mechanized labor, the second electrified the production, the third digitized information, the fourth automated intelligence. Now we stand at a threshold, the fifth industrial revolution. If that is what this becomes, will not be about automation. It will be about human elevation in the age of intelligent systems. And for boards, this is no longer a CIO conversation. This is a governance conversation. Next slide, please. The World Economic Forum described the fourth industrial revolution as cyber physical convergence. Automation, data, AI, automation, data, AI. But the fifth industrial revolution reframes the question not what machines can do, but what humans must preserve: dignity, inclusion, and responsibility. This is not human versus AI. This is human elevated by AI if we choose wisely. Next slide, please. The economic scale of AI is, let us ground ourselves on scale. PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, one of the big four consulting firms, believes that 15.7 trillion dollars globally will be impacted by 2030 through AI. $15.7 trillion. So McKinsey says 70% of companies will be experimenting with AI, and IMF, the International Monetary Fund, says 40% of global jobs exposed to AI systems. Exposure does not mean elimination; it means transformation, and transformation without stewardship becomes disruption without direction. Boards must ask: Are we building capability or are we accelerating volatility? Next slide, please. India is at a defining threshold. To talk India per se, India's, India is projected to add nearly $1 trillion to GDP by 2035 through AI. Second largest AI talent base globally. Digital public infrastructure, UPI, Aadhaar, ONDC at planetary scale. But scale is not destiny. Stewardship is. If India builds inclusive AI that works in tier 3 towns, tribal districts, low bandwidth regions, we do not solve for India. We will solve for half the planet. Next slide, please.
Next slide.
Yeah, next slide, please. Every algorithm begins with a human decision. What problem to solve, what data to include, what success looks like, who benefits. If the room designing AI is narrow, the system becomes narrow. AI does not invent bias, it amplifies what exists. If inequality is embedded in data, AI scales it. If empathy is embedded in design, AI will scale that too. The prompt is human. Next slide, please. Research from MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and Stanford has shown algorithmic systems replicating bias in hiring and credit scoring. But the same technology, when trained on inclusive data sets, improves accuracy and fairness. Technology mirrors society, which means leadership cannot outsource ethics to engineers. Governance must precede scale. Next slide, please. Well, governance is the real revolution. The next decade will not be defined by model size. It will be defined by ethical architecture, accountability frameworks, regulatory foresight, cross-border collaboration. The EU, the Economic European Union AI Act is an early signal. Boards now face fiduciary exposure around AI's oversight. AI strategy must move from innovation labs to boardrooms. Because intelligence without governance is volatility. Next slide, please. From efficiency to equity. Historically, technology drove efficiency, but this decade demands equity. McKinsey estimates that 60% of occupation could automate at least 30% of their tasks. The question is not productivity, who gains, the question is distribution. Who gains access, who is displaced, who is empowered. AI for productivity is optimization. AI for equity is transformation. Next slide, please. Inclusion is strategic advantage. Inclusion is not CSR. It is strategic resilience, designing AI for a rural India, for linguistic diversity, for low bandwidth environment, for economically excluded populations. If your AI works in constraint, it works globally. India's diversity is not a challenge; it is a competitive advantage. Next slide, please. What will define this decade? That is the $1,000 question. The decade will not be defined by GPU clusters, for funding rounds, unicorn valuations. It will be defined by when a rural woman entrepreneur accesses credit through AI, whether a small farmer receives climate intelligence in his language, whether healthcare diagnostics reach the last mile, whether minority voices are protected, not profiled. That is the measure of the fifth industrial revolution. Next slide, please. Technology is easy, certainly, and alignment is very hard. Capital allocation is a leadership function. Risk oversight is a board function. Ethical foresight is a governance function. Boards must ask, do we have AI literacy at the board level? Do we measure AI impact beyond ROI? Do we have algorithmic accountability frameworks? Because AI may be artificial, responsibility is not artificial. Yeah, final slide. So our ethical question for our time is that as we come to the close of this discussion, let me leave you with a perspective. We often measure progress in technology through speed, scale, capability, but in the AI era, progress will be measured differently. It will be measured by responsibility, inclusion, and long-term consequences. Because AI is not just about building smarter systems, it is about shaping the kind of society these systems will serve. And that brings us back to a fundamental truth. Technology is easy, leadership is hard. Building AI models is a technical challenge. Ensuring they align with human values is a leadership responsibility, which is why boards, leaders, and institutions must now evolve from oversight to foresight, adoption to accountability, efficiency to equity. Because in the years ahead, the question will not be, did you adopt AI? It will be, did you govern it responsibly? Let me have you one final thought. AI will scale intelligence, but it will also scale intent. But if there is one thing we must get right as a leaders, it is this: what are we choosing to scale? Because ultimately, the future will not be defined by algorithms; it will be defined by values behind them, and that is not a technology decision. That is a leadership choice. Thank you very much.
So great introduction session, Mr. Adapa Sharad Kumarji. Yeah, so it's a time for questions now. Yeah, the
Yeah,
conceptually you said very nice, very important points. Okay, so now one of the most important concerns for everybody now is the unemployment will be created, okay, because of AI. This is a common question for everybody. That is the number one. Okay.
yeah.
Number two is all entry level jobs for the people uh, will be automated by AI. Okay, so there will be a very difficult problem for the professionals to complete the graduation and join. So these are the two things. Of course, there are very technically very sound engineers or whatever. So they don't have problem. So they always have a challenge. So the competitiveness of the whole job environment, okay, the working environment, it includes for everybody, organization, the team, the employees, the consumers, everybody will have a problem. Okay, so how do you see that? What's going on from your
I will,
perspective?
yeah, I will give you this response in two ways. One is whether AI is going to replace the jobs or not. That is the major headache for everybody. I know. Every speaking arrangement, every seminar, webinar, I am asked this question by, and of course, mostly by youngsters and even the senior people also. But they are also very anxious whether they will. I keep telling them actually, AI will not eliminate work. It will eliminate irrelevance. If you are irrelevant to the whole thing, you have to become relevant. Actually, I'll give you a very good example. When during 80s, when I was a kid, when Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister of India, he wanted that entire government system should become computerized. At those days, computer was something, some kind of a very outlandish, coming from some other planet kind of a thing people used to have. But that was not the case. Rajiv Gandhi was very clear on this, that everybody has to learn it, learn computer, put the computer, entire government system should be computerized. He was very particular about that. And there was so many agitations against women's government people. People did a lot of agitation and all, but at the end of the day, they all learned computer. And today, just a kid can handle the mobile. Today, that kind of we have evolved so much. So every change will bring something, but it will evolve. Initially, there will be some, just like during 80s, early 80s, it happened. It will happen today also. Today, because of the AI. Those days, computer is itself was some kind of outlandish object from a different planet altogether, right? Now, as I said, AI will not eliminate work; it will eliminate irrelevance. But but the routine is automated. Whatever routine work will be automated, but the judgment will be premium. That judgment will come from humans only. AI can't do that. That judgment, that perceived notion, that high quality judgment, that only human intelligence can give. Artificial intelligence cannot give at all. That's where the premium is. So you have to become, routine work will be automated. That's fine. That is okay. We don't want to waste time on routine work. Let us look at this way, that this will bring, maybe our minds will become more intellectual because of this. Because judgment will be very premium nowadays because of the AI. And finally, what I will tell you is that this is for the first question. The future of work is not human versus AI. That is what is people are trying to make it. It is not about human and AI are fighting around each other. It is actually a human with judgment versus human without AI, without the judgment. That we need to be very clear about. That is what we need to be very clear about it. And this is, people who have judgment certainly have a premium in the workforce, and people who don't have it, they are. See, if you are stupid enough or you are foolish, if you are foolish or stupid, and you give foolish prompts and foolish, AI will scale that stupidity. It's as simple as that.
Correct.
If you give AI very high end prompts or intellectual prompts, what AI will do, it will scale that also. So it's up to us how we use the AI. Actually, AI is not our what you call our some kind of an enemy who has been created from some other planet, something, right? AI is actually a support system for us. AI is going to support it. That is what we have to make ourselves work. AI is not going to lose any jobs because of anybody, but you have to adapt yourself to become relevant to the times. And I can tell you, I'll just add on what you asked, because generally people ask this also. So I'll just answer this also. People keep asking me what will be the what do you call uh, skills which will be very important in the days to come, in the next decade. On the AI decade, what are the skills you should have so that you can differentiate from others, right? See, becoming an AI expert is not a big issue these days. Everybody will become, because most of the colleges, most of the universities, everybody is teaching their people their AI, some or other thing. Yeah, they're having some courses. Everybody, you go to YouTube, you will have some free courses. Some people giving it 9 rupees a day for a course. I've seen so many ads on that. So that is not a problem. What skills will differentiate you is, first and foremost, is emotional intelligence. The person should have emotional intelligence, EQ. People also call emotional quotient of, that is the leadership need to have. And not only leadership, people from every management, at every level of management, they need to have emotional intelligence, because emotional intelligence leads to empathetic leadership. And that is very important in today's AI age, where we are in a digital age, where the distance between the people are growing faster, though it should have been cut down, but the distance between people is growing because of the mobile, because of the internet. People are not talking to each other, rather than they talk through WhatsApps, they talk through messages, they talk to this so many, and though in spite of sitting just side by side. So emotional intelligence will be one of the greatest skill you need to have. The second
Mhm.
one, creativity. You have to be creative. And creativity, because I come from an advertising background, I have spent some lot of time on 5.5 years in pure advertising.
Mhm.
That's where the creativity functions like it's more in demand actually. But creativity is in demand in everywhere, whichever whatever work you do. More creative you are, more you use your mind, more you are very observant about what is happening around yourself, what is happening around your surroundings. The creativity will flourish within the minds. That is the second skill I'm telling you. The third one, that is also very important, and at these times when we are having a huge, as I told you in the early stages, that we are having a geopolitical issues in the West Asia, where one country is at one place, one region is having some problem, the entire world is suffering.
Global.
The entire world is suffering. You can't say that just because it is happening in Middle East Asia, you will not suffer. Even the guy in Australia is also suffering. The guy in US is also suffering. Guy in Canada, guy in down under Africa, India, everywhere. Everybody is suffering. And but actually, only three people are involved in the fight, right? And that is where the resilience factor comes. Resilience is the greatest skill you can have.
Mhm.
For
Mhm.
as a country, as a population of the country, or as a employee of a employee, or as in the board or as the leadership, resilience will be the most critical factor, one of the most critical factors in the days to come. You should have be very resilient enough to come like a what they call come like a phoenix from the ashes. So every crisis you need to look at opportunities. Every crisis gives an opportunity. That we should understand first. Every crisis has given an opportunity to, because when COVID was there, till then nobody knew what was work from home. Then everybody realized that you can cost costs also because of work from home. That crisis gave another opportunity for everybody. Okay, so resilience. Why resilience? Resilient employees make resilient companies. Our resilient people, resilient population makes resilient countries that make huge, great society, resilient economies that make huge, resilient economies, which improves your GDP. And I can tell you, resilient economies can improve GDP by at least by 10% easily. Any country, and a country like us, it can go up like anything if we are more and more resilient. So
Mhm.
even if you are getting some issues with this kind of geopolitical issues and all that stuff, or technology disruption, resilience is the most important critical skill. We should not make ourselves very low. If we start feeling low, that nothing is going to happen in our lives. Actually, in fact, our lives is going to be pretty good. Actually, that's how I look at it, and I keep telling people we got to be very positive in our reflection. And for last and for fourth one is social influence. You need to have a social influence. It means you need to create a brand equity. You need to create a kind of a personality where you have social influence within your ecosystem,
Mhm.
within your company, within your not only within the company where you're working, within the which sector you are in.
Mhm.
You need to have a social influence. You have to use platforms like LinkedIn, like anything. LinkedIn is a great platform where you can use your creativity, you can show your writing flair for writing and all. This is something which where you can have a network of people. I'll give my own example. I started some in LinkedIn around 2009 November. I joined LinkedIn at that time as a, and today it's something around maybe around 19 years. It's maybe around 19 years now. And today, if you see my profile, I have 22,000 followers. And all these followers came organically. I didn't go do any kind of digital marketing to get all these guys. And my followers are all from students to the board level members, chairmen, everybody is there in my this thing. So I have that kind of a social influence I created. Of course, it took lot of time. Of course, you had to work on it. You had to work on your brand equity. You had to work on it every day. You have to write. You have to improve your skills. You have to be very updated about what is happening across the world and what are your thoughts on that. Because you can't have a one-dimensional thought that it is not working for us, so it is not good. It's not that way actually. It is every crisis has a very multi-dimensional way of looking at things. That is what I want to tell you. So for
Fantastic.
skills, yes, sir.
Fantastic. There is a comment from. I have one more point for that. You said four. I have one more. I will add it, but I will let me talk. Let me read it. Uh, uh, Mark Blackwell, he's one of our strategy expert in Europe. He gave a comment. Hi, Mark. I hope you can hear me. There will be new jobs to check and process the output of AI, especially if new workflows are designed, uh, creating new value propositions with the new business models. So there will be new jobs created, something like that. Okay, that's very important. Thank you, Mark, for that. So, Adapa sir, I would like to add one more point, one more skill required. People need to be proactive.
Yes, you are very right.
This is very important now in this situation where everywhere there is something going on, whether it's good or bad. Okay, whether it could be technology, it could be humans, and it could be even the emotions, as you said, emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is required at every level, at the school level, the student teacher level, family level, on the organizations, everywhere it is required, and I totally agree with you. And it's a very interesting point, because people don't spend together much time now. People spend
Yes.
individually. That is the reason all these complications are happening.
Happening. Yeah.
Now, everybody need to be proactive. This is applicable for students. This is applicable for the teachers. This is applicable for the companies. Now there is no place for complacency. So you need to be really active, even if you are doing good. You need to be on your toes. Okay. Even and one advice for the employees or team members, whoever is, be proactive. Okay, you don't have to rush, but be proactive. Take initiatives. Think about how to add value, and be professional as possible. That's very important at this point of time. Okay, so though gone are the days where you can be complacent, relax, and my job is safe. Nothing is safe now. So that makes going forward, we see the new different world with very high competitiveness. Okay, and this is really not a easy thing for everybody. So everybody at all ages have to be competitive. Yeah.
Yes.
So any
Well,
final? Yeah, I will
yeah.
leave
What
you.
else? I think you are going to a means you are leading to a question. If you keep asking me, and you are also leading to that actually. What is the biggest risk with AI? Am I right? What is the biggest risk? Biggest risk is not that AI will become too powerful. That is not the risk. It is that leadership may remain under evolved. That you said, no, proactive.
Hmm.
Leadership should not be under evolved. Leadership has to be proactive. That's what I'm trying to maximize this. Whatever you said now, tech is advancing faster than governance. Technology will be faster than governance, advancing, but boards are mostly reactive. Most of the boards across the world are reactive. They are not anticipatory. As you said, we have to be proactive. So boards, everybody, companies, boards, governments, policy map, everybody has to be anticipatory. So that is a problem. That is a problem. So technology disruption is visible. We are seeing technology disruption on a daily basis, but governance failure is very silent. but it is far more dangerous.
Correct.
Governance failure you don't see every day. I don't know whether I should give the example of what has happened in the stock market very recently. One leading bank got what you call lost $15 billion in a single week, or the share price has gone down. Why? Because a non-executive chairman resigned. Of course, it would have if he would have resigned. Normally, nothing would have happened. No ripples would have been there. But what he said, there are things which in the board which are kind of going through, which ethically I couldn't digest it.
Mhm.
This word itself, see, market interprets very fast. Market will not wait for you. $15 billion. Just imagine $15 billion in Indian currency, how much it is. Just in a span of 1 week. So there is a governance failure somewhere, and that happens to be the leading bank of India, where the entire financial system, our entire financial is one of the banks which is one of the pillars of our financial system. This is a risk with AI. So we have to be governance is always silent. It's very silent, but we don't know how big it is. It's like a silent big monster standing up suddenly before you. So technology, you can see that it is evolving and it is visible, but governance is not visible. That is the area which people need to look at, and they have to address this very seriously.
Fantastic, sir. Technology evolve. I think what is happening now is technology evolving, and then everybody is catching up. Okay, and
Yeah.
there is a limit for everybody to catch up. Especially, I see a big gap in the manufacturing sector where people are unable to catch up because to catch up, they need to have a basic infrastructure in place. So if you don't have basic infrastructure ready for AI, okay, so you cannot catch up. So now the thing is, this AI revolution, I can call it, so is forcing everybody to get ready. Okay, the basic infrastructure, basic skills, whatever is required for the organization, make it ready, invest in it. Okay, then of course AI will be the next course of action, and uh, and this will be affected every nook and corner of the operations. Mhm.
One of the major problem is that AI going to widen inequality? That is something which people don't look at, but it
I
is a
think
very serious.
I think
It's a
I
very
think that
serious
is
question.
I totally agree, sir. I totally agree. I see that there are some tech. I'm seeing in a very minor, smaller way. There are people who are very familiar with AI technologies and other things. There is a big gap with the employees or humans who is not aware of AI much. Okay, so this can create a big problem as we go on. One with leverage and some other without leverage.
And
So,
see, sir, AI does not create inequality. It amplifies what is already there.
yeah, of course,
It
yes.
will amplify. See, inequality is already there, but because of AI, it will magnify.
Multiply.
And
Mhm.
data bias is outcome bias. Data bias is outcome bias, and access is advantage. If everybody has access to AI, then it's an advantage. If inclusion is not designed in AI, then exclusion will be scaled by default.
Mhm. That's so nice. That's so nice.
So
Yes.
this is with this we need to remember. I'm
Mhm.
repeating once again: if inclusion is not designed by AI, exclusion will be scaled by default. Now, why I'm saying
Mhm.
inclusion is I'm talking about AI about not in metros. If AI doesn't work well for somebody sitting in Northeast, some lady,
Mhm.
some entrepreneur who's sitting in Northeast, he wants a Nagaland or Arunachal Pradesh or some remote tribal area. If AI can't reach there and her life is not able to change because of the AI, then it's no point in having AI at all. So that's the kind of I'm looking at. There are linguistic minorities. There are linguistic minorities in India whom you don't find in the general parlance.
Mhm.
All those need to be included.
Yeah,
The
it's a very
inclusion,
important point.
yeah,
Mhm.
there are linguistic minorities. There are
Mhm.
linguistic parlance. There are linguistic, not only linguistic there are religious minorities. There are religious tribes. There are tribes which are not included in this AI. If their life doesn't change, there's no point in having an AI. That is what leadership needs to look at.
Very important point. I think inclusivity is one of the major requirement for the boards, for the governments, okay, and then for the society as a whole, so that everybody have a level playing field, okay,
Field,
and
yeah.
yeah, that's very important. And
But
even I,
actually, what happens, generally, most of the boards, most of the governments and the policymakers, they look at very peripherally, level at very peripheral. They don't look at deep. They don't go deep.
yeah,
They don't see the guy sitting at Delhi will not whether this AI is doing something good for somebody in Bihar at Jumritalaya. This is a remote village in Jumritalaya. I used to listen this village name every time when I used to listen to radio in Bijpar.
great, sir. We
So
have 2 minutes. Would you like to give a quick ramp up?
yeah, I'll give a quick
About
ramp up and yeah.
Mhm.
My final this thing will be that see, we are in a Navi NAVI. Navi means not Navi the one. I'm talking about what you see in the today in TV and all. I'm talking about Navi. Navi is NAVI. Navi is non-linear, asymmetric, what do you call volatile, and this thing interconnected. This is the world we are at. Navi, NAVI, non-linear, because whatever happening that I will tell you later on. But I want to finish up this in a very this thing. See, my deeper question is that we should all be asking is what are we optimizing for as leaders in the AI era? That is what is a deeper question, because ultimately AI will scale whatever intent we bring to it. And that is why this is not a technology conversation at all. What we are discussing right now, this is a leadership movement, and this leadership movement will lead to the next decade from 2026 to 2035. Now we are in the enter the decade now, and as I was telling about Navi, this thing we have to very remember all the boards, all the companies, all the governments and the policy, all of that, all the problems. What we are in an era of Navi, that is non-linear, asymmetric, volatile, interconnected. I'll tell you one by one what is non-linear. Events no longer evolve gradually. Small triggers can lead to disproportionately large economic consequences. That is non-linear. A single regional conflict, just like how we are seeing right now, its regulatory change or a shipping disruption can ripple through energy markets, logistics, commodities, and create inflation across continents. That's what is happening right now. We are seeing the petrol prices going up, energy inflation everywhere, energy crisis, and the second one, the asymmetric. Asymmetric means modern disruptions rarely affect everyone equally. So a crisis can devastate some sectors. Actually, some sectors are getting devastated because of energy crisis and all that, while some are actually benefiting. Actually,
Yeah.
all those guys who are into electric vehicles, now they will rule the roost. So everybody will feel that we should have an electric vehicle or a battery operated vehicle. Why should we have a petroleum this thing? So they will do the rules, and this like induction stoves. Induction stove sale has gone up like shoot up like anything recently. You can see that because
Okay.
we are not getting gas, we're not
Correct.
getting LPG, so
Correct.
everybody is buying induction stove now. And I saw because I come from an advertising background. I saw a ad from a very it was a very creative ad. That's what I told you. We have to be very creative in this world. From Prestige.
Mhm.
Prestige said, your cylindrical problems will be solved by rectangular solutions. So you have to, Prestige has got two induction stoves. Generally, most induction have only one stove over there. They had two. So it is a rectangular one. So that was by Prestige actually. So this is how it works. So now V is volatility. Speed has become the defining feature of modern crisis, and markets, commodities, currencies, and capital flows now react within hours rather than months. Strategic assumptions therefore expire faster than ever. So it is very volatile. Situation is very volatile. NAV. And the last one but not the least is IE is interconnected. The global economy is deeply networked. Supply chains, financial systems, digital infrastructure, and geopolitical alliances are interlinked. A disruption in one region will rapidly transmit across industries and borders. This is
Very
why, even if the current West Asia crisis subsides, and we all hope it does, the structural nature of disruptions will remain.
will remain. Yes.
Will remain.
Mhm. Will remain.
This is
So
my
thank,
final this thing.
Great,
Yeah,
sir.
thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for wonderful session. You opened some very important thoughts for both for government leaders and maybe political leaders also. It's very important. So very nice to hear you, Mr. Sharad Kumar. So give a big round of applause to Mr. Radhapa Sharad Kumar. And if you want to reach him for any questions, please make sure you post it in LinkedIn or in YouTube or whatever, and you have he is very popular in LinkedIn, so you can just get connected and post your questions. So thank you very much, Sharad sir.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we had an excellent session. I really liked inclusiveness of AI. If you don't do that, there will be a big problem for some part of the societies. So that will create a big issue. That will create inequalities. That is a wonderful way to think in a holistic way. So let us go with the new session. Jyoti, if you are able to onboard our next guest speaker. So what we are, I think we have started very nicely. So our next session will be AI and reinvention of the workforce architecture. Okay, so that will be our next session. Jyoti, if you are able to hear, and if Raja is there, so welcome Raja Mukherjee. Thank you very much for joining the session today. Nice to see you again. Welcome on board. So let me give you a quick round of introduction. Okay. Mr. Raja Mukherjee is a value creation partner and CEO advisor who helps organizations turn strategy into predictable performance. Okay, through Rudemy Consulting, he works with leaders to strengthen margins, cash flows, and operational control. His expertise spans operating models, profit architecture, and enterprise-wide performance systems. So, welcome, Mr. Raja, to and audience for the topic AI and reinvention of workforce architecture. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Abdul. So, Jyoti, if you can just put me on full screen, please. Otherwise, the animations. Thank you. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Raja Mukherjee, and today I'm not going to talk about AI strategy because whenever I am talking of strategy, I always had a nagging feeling that I was basically advising people to redecorate their houses when the foundations was crumbling. So we're not going to talk about paint colors. We are here to talk about architecture. And why so? Simply because the workforce architecture that you currently have was built for a world that no longer exists, and what you can actually do about it in today's session. So let's get started. Let me start with something that may make some of you slightly uncomfortable. Every org chart in the room, including yours, is a liability. Now, before you reach for your phone to text your CHRO, let me be precise. The problem is not your people. Your people are probably excellent, and I mean it. The problem is the structure they sit inside. That structure was designed by very smart people in a different era for a world where humans were the only intelligent agents in the building. The finance team analyzed, the strategy team synthesized, the operations team coordinated. Human hands, human minds, human hours. That world ended roughly 18 months back. Because now you have agents that can synthesize a 200-page report in 40 seconds, that can identify patterns across thousands of customer interactions before your analyst has finished their morning coffee. That world has ended. The question, and the only question that matters today, is whether you have updated the blueprint. And I think I'll go ahead and answer on behalf of most of you. Not yet. And honestly, fine. You're in the right room. Let's go ahead and fix it. I want to give you two numbers. Hold both of them in your head simultaneously. First number, 60 to 70%. That is the share of current knowledge work activities that are technically automatable right now. Not in 5 years, now. McKinsey. Second number, less than 5%. That is the share of companies actually redesigning their workforce architecture to respond to this. The rest, they're running co-pilot pilots, sending teams on AI literacy workshop, writing thoughtful memos about responsible adoption. All of this is lovely, and sometimes I feel that is definitely a requirement. But none of this is architecture. The gap between these two numbers is both the biggest opportunity and the biggest risk in this room. The companies that are closing it right now are going to look back in 3 years like the companies that moved to cloud in 2012. Inevitable in retrospect, slightly embarrassing to have missed. Now, some of you will tell me why now. And I'll tell you why now, because three things happen simultaneously. And unlike most technology cycles, they don't reverse. First, agentic AI entered the workflow. The knowledge worker's core job, synthesize, analyze, recommend, is now partially executable by software. I'm not saying it's better than humans. I'm saying it exists as an option at a cost that fundamentally changes the arithmetic. Second, the cost of intelligence collapsed. The compute cost of a task dropped by approximately 97% between 2020 and 2025. 97%. For the first time in history, human history, intelligence is cheaper than human labor at scale. If your operating model still assumes that synthesis and analysis require a human, you are pricing in a resource that is no longer the only option. Third, and this is the one people often underestimate, first mover advantage is already compounding. The companies that redesigned their workflow in 2023 and 2024 are now 18 to 24 months ahead in institutional AI fluency. Three inflection points, ladies and gentlemen, simultaneously. That's not a trend. That's a structural break. And I want to give you a lens. Three eras of workforce architecture. Era one, industrial. The unit of work is a task. Intelligence is in human hands. The org model is a hierarchy. Era two, knowledge. The unit of work is a decision. Intelligence is in human minds. The org model is a matrix, functions, cross-functional teams, so on and so forth. Era three, agentic. The unit of work is an outcome. Intelligence comes from human and AI together. The org model is a network, fluid, reconfigurable pods assembled around outcomes. And now here's our honest diagnosis. Most AI transformations right now is in era 2 companies buying era 3 tools. It's just like giving a 90s, 50s factory manager a laptop, a team collaboration app, and a cloud subscription. and expecting them to run a software company. You cannot bolt a jet engine onto a bullock cart and call it aerospace. So what does this era 3 architecture actually look like in terms of people? And that's the key topic for our discussion today. I want to introduce three new human archetypes, and I want to be precise. These are not new job titles to bolt on to your existing org chart, organization chart. These are roles that replace or fundamentally evolve existing ones, and they are needed across every function: finance, HR, ops, strategy, you name them, essentially across all of them. First archetype, orchestrators. They direct, prompt, and govern AI agents. They're the new breed of managers, not managing people doing tasks, but managing AI doing work and humans doing judgment. Second, validators. They audit, ethicize, and quality assure AI outputs. They are the organization's quality immune system. Without them, AI errors compound silently and they become crises, often expensive one. Third, integrators. They bridge AI insight to human decision making. They translate what AI surfaces into what leaders can actually act on. Critically, none of these are IT roles. And I hear this misclassification all the time. These are business roles. And I'm going to spend a couple of minutes on each of them because that's where they come to life. The orchestrator. Let me walk you through a day because that's where the abstraction becomes real. 8:30 a.m. reviewing the overnight AI agent output, not because they ran it, but because they govern it. 11 a.m. sprint planning, but not for a team of people, for a pod, which includes both humans and AI agents. Explicitly deciding which tasks go to the agents and which require human judgment. 1600, tuning the agent workflow after two validators' rejections this week, essentially a continuous improvement loop. Notice what the person is not doing. They are not writing reports. They are not coordinating meetings. They are not chasing approvals. They are governing intelligent systems. Now, what do you hire for? Systems thinking over task execution, genuine AI fluency, not just knowing that tool, but understanding the logic, comfort with ambiguity. Three things not to do. Do not hire an AI champion without structural authority. That person will be ignored within 90 days. Do not attach this role to IT because this is not an IT role. And do not, for heaven's sake, confuse this with a project manager. This is a leadership role. The validator, the least glamorous archetype, also unambiguously the one that saves the company. 8 a.m. spot checking AI generated financial projections for hallucinated data points. They find some. 9:30 flagging a customer facing AI recommendation as biased before it ships. Pulls it with 13:30 reviewing AI drafted contract clauses on behalf of the legal team. Rejects too. What to hire for? Deep domain knowledge. Whatever your sector requires, this person needs to understand the subject matter deeply enough to know when the AI is wrong. Essentially, the adversarial thinking, assuming the AI is wrong until proven right, just like what the lawmakers say. That is the correct starting assumption. The risk of not having this role, AI hallucination entering your decisions undetected, regulatory exposure on AI assisted outputs, brand damage, and perhaps most insidiously, no feedback loop to improve the models over time. The integrator, the rarest archetype, the most valuable, and I'll tell you upfront, you are not going to find this person on LinkedIn because this is the profile that doesn't exist in any standard job family. It's not a data scientist, it's not a strategist, it's both simultaneously, with the additional ability to translate between technical teams and executives in real time. A day in their life, 8:30 translating AI market sizing outputs into strategic options for the board. 12:30, mediating a conflict. The orchestrator and the CFO disagree on an AI generated forecast. The integrator understands and the model is actually saying, and the executive is actually asking. That bridges the gap. What to hire for? Strategic thinking and combined with data fluency, which is genuinely rare. The ability to hold the so what question in every room, trust from both technical teams and executives simultaneously. Why is this the hardest hire? Because it doesn't exist today. Existing talent pipelines don't produce it. You need to develop this internally. That takes 18 to 24 months, which means some of you needed to start a year ago. But today is the next best time, as somebody has said. Now, let me pull everything together. The old model, fixed roles, fluid work. The new model, the human AI pod. The atomic unit of the agentic enterprise is not the role, it is the pod. And here's what a pod looks like. It has one fixed thing, an outcome, not a function, not a headcount allocation, an outcome. Something like the business needs to be true. Inside the pod, an orchestrator, a validator, an integrator, and a set of AI agents with defined responsibilities. The humans govern, the AI executes and generates. They're measured on two things, velocity and judgment quality. No role in the pod is permanent. And compare that to the traditional model, even when the project ends, the team continues because the org chart had fixed people on fixed boxes. I want to take a step back and put this in a context that many of you will recognize because enterprise architects have been solving a version of this problem for 30 years. The foundational lesson of enterprise architecture is this. You cannot overlay new capabilities onto legacy architecture and expect transformation. When people tried to add ERP systems onto paper-based processes, it failed. When they tried to add cloud infrastructure onto on-premise governance model, it failed expensively and slowly. The reason is always the same. Business architecture, data architecture, application and technology architecture must be redesigned in concert, not patched layer by layer. The same principle now applies to what I'm calling the workforce architecture. And it has four layers and all need to move together. Business architecture, people architecture, process architecture, and intelligence architecture. So essentially, agents and the people working all in tandem, which is exactly what is happening in most companies now. They're investing on the intelligence layer, buying new AI tools, and leaving the other three untouched. That is a very expensive patch which the organizations are undergoing. And I want to show you how this looks when it's working. I'm not going to name the company, partly for confidentiality, and partly because I want to see for yourself that this and not dismiss it as well. That's a tech company or their context is different. This is the composite, real behaviors from real organization. Their org chart is no longer shows functions, it shows outcomes. Each outcome is owned by a pod. Headcount decisions are made around augmentation ratios, not targets. That single shift in language changes everything about how conversation runs in a boardroom. How are talent decisions different? The last 6 hires in the strategy functions were integrators, not analysts, not consultants, integrators. How has measurement changed? KPIs measure outcome velocity and judgment quality. The question is not whether this is possible. Companies are doing it. The question is whether you are one of them. And the slightly uncomfortable follow-up, if not, what exactly are you waiting for? And I want to give all of you a diagnostic. 3 questions, answer them honestly, not for me, not for the room, just for yourself. Question 1, are your key performance indicators measuring outcomes or activities? AI eliminates the relevance of activity measurement entirely. If you're still tracking activities, you are designing for a world where effort is a proxy for value. That world is ending. Question number 2, are your AI tools assigned to individuals or to workflows? Most companies answer individuals. We give that person Copilot, we give that team access to Claude. When you assign AI to individuals, you get productivity gains at the individual level, but they don't compound. Value compounds in systems and workflows. Like I was telling this to a client of mine, giving an employee a faster typewriter doesn't change the architecture of the publishing house. Question number 3, is your organization structure based on functions or outcome? Functional silos are era 2's architecture. AI creates cross-functional intelligence that no single function can own. So count your patching answer. Score 2 or more, you are not transforming. So that's where you need to start relooking and revisiting. Now, whenever I give such talks, they all end with a grand call to action. But today, I'm going to give you 3 things to do on a Monday 9 a.m. morning. No committee required, no budget, just clarity of intent. Step 1, open your org chart, print it, physical artifact. This is the map of the enterprise that you used to run. And it is the right map for era 2. It is the starting point for what comes next. Step 2, circle every role where primary output is information synthesis or coordination. Every analyst, every coordinator, every person whose main job is to gather, summarize, or route information. Step 3, for every measure outcome your organization exists to produce, ask, do I need a human team or do I need a human pod? For some outcomes, a human team is still the right answer. For more than you currently think, the answer is a pod. The list of outcomes that need pods is your architecture backlog. Start here, not with a vendor presentation, not with an AI strategy deck, with that particular list. The companies, ladies and gentlemen, that will win the next decade will not be the ones with the best AI tools. Tool lakhs is essentially a commodity at this point. Anyone with a credit card has access to the same foundation models you do. The companies that win will be the ones brave enough to do something genuinely uncomfortable, to look at an org chart that has served them well, that represents decades of thinking, investment, and culture, and rebuild it around human AI collaboration as the default, not as a pilot, not as an experiment, as an architecture. That is hard. It requires a lot of conviction. It requires explaining to people that their role is evolving. But here's the thing, the companies doing it are not struggling, they are accelerating. And the gap between them and everyone else is widening every quarter. Let me show you how a capability build will look like. Layer 1 is foundational. You cannot skip this. You need to map where AI can take specific tasks off the human plate. Layer 2 is governance. This is non-negotiable. Layer 3 is execution. This is where the 3 archetypes that I was mentioning earlier actually show up in your pods and start making decisions together. Layer 4 is the culture shift. And this is the longest pole in the tent. It's where leadership behaviors changes, where KPIs shift, where people stop being measured on activity and start being measured on outcomes. Most companies are trying to do all the 4 layers at once. That doesn't work. The sequence matters. That is where people like us come in to support different organizations. And this is the realistic plan, 90 days plan, not a 10-year vision. Week 1 and 2, you are in design mode. Weeks 3 and 4, you move to selection. You cannot train an orchestrator in 2 weeks. You need the person, same with validators. Week 5 through 8, you are actually running the pods. Sprints, AI agents doing the work, humans governing. Week 9 to 12, the measurements come alive. You have actual velocity data. That week 8 decision points is crucial. If it works, you scale to 5, maybe 10 pods. Either way, by week 12, you exactly know where you are further down the road. And let me be direct. Even if you do those capability build, and even if you do it sequentially, you need to take care of the risks that build up. Risk number one, hallucination at scale. Most companies are shipping AI output without zero checks. Don't be that organization. Risk number two, compliance exposure. Your regulators have not seen agentic AI at scale in your domain. They will have questions about how decisions are being made, about what happens when an AI recommendation is wrong. Have those conversations now before something breaks. Risk three is organizational resistance. People are anxious about agentic AI. You need to be honest. Some roles will evolve, some will change shape, but the human AI pod model creates more meaningful work, not less. Risk number four, cultural regression. Mark my word, I'm saying regression, going back. The moment the company comes under pressure, a bad quarter, a crisis, managers will tend to go back to what they know: faster decisions, stricter hierarchy, clear authority. Your KPI structure has to be inflexible. Inflexible. Not flexibility, not adaptability, inflexible. Make outcome measurement not negotiable. Now, summing this up, what are the different metrics that a person needs to follow? Velocity is first. You are measuring outcomes moving faster, essentially cycle time. How long does it take a pod to deliver a decision? From deciding, thinking, we need to know, to we decided, that should drop 50% or more, because AI agents run parallel work that humans did sequentially. Judgment quality is the second metric. How often do executives actually accept the AI recommendations after a validator sign off? And post decision rates, error rates, are the decisions getting better? Human engagement is the third one. How much of an orchestrator's time is actually spent governing versus doing execution work? Culture is the slowest moving metric, but the most important. Are you making KPI decisions based on outcomes? Have you had honest conversations about role evolution? 6 months on, give yourself 6 months, and if all these four metrics don't turn green or shades of green, you need to go back to your drawing board once again. Now you have a practical list. You have an org structure, you have your orchestrator pool. These people exist in your organization. Your validator pool is usually easier to identify. These are the domain experts. I would suggest you start with a pilot, something that matters, but not your biggest scare is transformation. That comes later. Pick something medium complexity that you can actually measure. And one critical decision for Monday: who owns this? Not owns AI strategy, owns the pod architecture. Someone with business authority, not committee approval needed. And I want to leave you with one final thought. The companies that win the next decade will not be the ones with the best AI tools. Tool access is commoditized. Anyone, as I was telling you earlier, with a credit card can access the same models that I and you do. The companies that win the ones that will be brave enough to do something genuinely uncomfortable, to look at an org chart that has served them well, that represent decades of investment and culture, and tear it up and rebuild it around human AI collaboration as the default, not as a pilot, not as a nice to have, as an architecture. That is hard. It requires a lot of conviction. It requires explaining to people that their role is evolving. But the companies doing it right now, they're not struggling, they are accelerating. And the gap between them and everyone else is widening every quarter. The question is not whether this will happen. It will. The question is whether he will lead it or whether he will react to it. And the answer to this question is due for everyone watching this session on Monday morning. So let's debate this. I'm genuinely interested in hearing your thoughts about the concept that I just now shared. What you think, what could get us in the right place, and what could actually derail the entire process. So over to you, Mr. Abdul.
Yeah, very interesting session, Mr. Raja. Thank you very much. Very insightful. I just keep thinking about it. Thank you very much. I just there are so many things to talk about. Uh, you talk about cultural regression. That's something it touch me. Okay, can you give just a little brief about this, because this is so important, and open the door for the questions. Mhm.
Yeah. Uh, so when I say cultural regression, I'm essentially thinking people resisting the change. People usually don't want to move away from the comfort zone. And the
Mhm.
moment you start talking of human and AI pods working together, there is a resistance. And even after coming away with that resistance, what I'm saying is the moment there is an opportunity of things slipping, not things progressing, things slipping, things not working the way they should, outputs not coming the way they should, errors from propping up because of whatever
Mhm.
reasons, there'll
Mhm.
be a tendency for managers to go back to the old ways of working. They
Okay.
they will shout and say to the CEO, look, you brought in a new org structure, a human AI pod, but not now it's not working. Let me go back to my org structure of a team leader, senior manager, associate vice president, and a processor. Let me go back to that. I know what to do. That's what I fear from. That more than moving forward, if you don't actually have change champions in place, there will be a tendency of people to come back. That's the cultural regression I was talking about.
Very nice. Very important. There are some questions. I think let's take up that question, which is the latest one. So the question is, I was wondering if this framework is real and companies are already doing it. Why haven't we seen more public case studies?
Yeah, the reason you will not see public case studies is because the CEOs don't want to go and show their playbook. But what you will hear is you should start listening to different analyst calls. And somewhere or the other, you will see people start talking of decisions being made faster. You will hear of velocity. Watch out for those phrases, for those keywords. That means they are doing that experiments of changing the structure at the back
Mhm.
end,
Mhm.
and they're
Mhm.
slowly evolving day in, day out.
And they keep it confidential. They don't disclose until
Absolutely.
and it is
Absolutely.
evolved, and and it's very important. The confidentiality is more most important thing now than ever. Okay, because everything is
Correct.
open now. The moment it goes to any LLM kind of thing, it will become a bigger problem for everybody. So confidentiality is the biggest problem now, especially because of this large language models. Sir, I have one question. You rightly said that measure the outcomes, not the actions. Okay, so you consistently promoted that. So how does that, when we have any strategy, process, or measure, or whatever we call it? Okay, so we have something called lead measures and lag measures. Okay,
Correct.
so lag measures is something which will display after you complete the task. So anything like financial measure, the profitability is the whatever. So what about the lead? So because you have to have some lead measures so that it will drive the lag measures. Is that same thing or different? Mhm. Can you throw a light on that?
Fantastic, fantastic point. So leading and lagging indicators are the core function for any performance indicator design. The old formula y is equal to fx, output is a function of multiple x's, is what everybody who has run operations in whatever shape or form would have taught themselves in. This is similar, very similar. But the only thing what I'm telling is, you're rather than measuring tasks, you need to start defining the outcome. Rather than saying so many invoices getting processed, so many calls getting monitored, you need to say what is the business value that you generate. That is the output, that is the why. And against that, what are the different x1, x2 to xn is what you need to
Mhm.
start thinking. That is a total paradigm change in the way you will
Mhm.
designing work. which only few of us are doing today.
Mhm, mhm. So I think this will enforce the automation as much as possible, the productivity increase, and then it will challenge the status quo to improve the performance of individuals as a whole.
Absolutely.
I think that's very relevant point. Yeah. So any more questions? Humans resist change without clarity on the way. Yeah. So this is another question. So what kind of roles should we be looking in the present scenario, Mr. Raja, specifically in
So,
financial sector? Mhm.
so it's not about the roles in a particular sector, and I would say financial sector is unique. But before I come to the financial sector, let me give you an overlay of all the sectors. The three archetypes that I touched upon are here for real. That's the way our work will gravitate towards. So the middle management layer, which can be an orchestrator because they have tons of experience, that's where they come in. For a financial sector, which is so closely knit into the regulatory uh, framework, regulatory fabric, this is a fantastic place for us to start this human AI pod experiment. And I'll tell you why. Because of the regulatory framework, the moment you have an human AI pod interacting, gives you an absolutely clear audit trail. Take that to your regulator and show him or her how we have come out with an output, and they'll be very happy. Why is it not happening? Because the organizations are doing it themselves, getting worried what will the regulator say. The regulator on the other side hasn't seen agentic AI in the scale. Banks are not talking with the ombudsman. You need to start talking with the regulatory authority. And financial sector is a fantastic place to do all these human AI pods interactions. What roles? You can pick up any role that you gradually gravitate towards. Because now, forget the old boxes in the org structure. Today, you can pick up any one of these roles and think of an outcome that you need to drive rather than what your KRA was mentioning. That is a paradigm shift. The moment you start thinking that way, you are in a totally different zone of evolution.
Fantastic. Okay, there is another question from Mark Blackwell. Uh, can you highlight, Jyoti? The humans resist change. No, not that question. Sorry. Yeah. So human resist change without clarity on the way, on the why, either because there is no leadership communication or because there is no supporting business strategy where AI enables the implementation. So any comment on that?
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic thought, Mark, and I agree. Uh, and I was telling you repeatedly in this entire session, this entire change needs a lot of conviction from the leadership because on one hand they have the investors, on the other hand they have the regulators, and the last bit of this entire puzzle is the team that they have. So they are in a very tightrope situation. Who comes on the priority list is a ever evolving uh, mechanism that they need to manage. That's where the challenge is. And I have seen leaders pick up small areas and do this as an experiment. The example that I was giving you is that example. They've done it in only a specific group, not across the entire organization. The more the results come out, the more favorable the results come out over a period of time. They are going to cascade that down across the organization. But absolutely valid point, Mark. Change resistance and cultural regression are close cousins. So that's the way I see it.
I think just to add to this point, usually when we have a large transformation initiatives, so change management is one of the discipline for that. Okay, that is
Absolutely.
fantastic. But now the change is so drastic and so much. Okay, so this is becoming a much bigger challenge. I don't think, in my personal opinion, the existing change management tools are not really will be effective with the same approach. Now, this is something, it will be more practical, more rigorous, and it should be easy also. Okay, so what do you think about the change management processes, Mr. Raj?
So the role that I flashed last, the integrators, and I said, you are not going to find that role on LinkedIn because that doesn't exist today. They have to be developed internally. Those are the guys who will be your change managers because they know the process, they know how to tackle different stakeholders, and they are also very good change managers because they are the one who are going to sit across the table, work with different teams, and say AI is making sense. That's the change manager we need to identify. We don't need tools. We need those people getting
People.
trained now because it takes time. It takes a year and a half for them to really shape up that way.
Hmm. Yeah, so there is one question from my friend Abdulaziz Al Yagud. How are you, Abdulaziz? Long time. Okay, so Mr. Sheikh, the marketplace strategy need AI. This is the big challenge now. That's a question. Uh, the marketplace strategy need AI? That's a question, and this is a big challenge now. So would you?
I think a marketplace or an aggregator definitely needs an AI strategy. But if you start breaking that down, if you just start unpeeling that like an onion, the core is the strategy that the organization needs to follow. What are they planning to do? Am I going to start small with a particular center of excellence, or scale it up, or target different business units? The moment I'm clear on that, I can start thinking on how the marketplace strategy will work out.
Mhm. Correct. So my personal opinion is the change is not only for the people. The change management is required even for the companies. Now, how this whole AI adoption and also any other uh, disturbances in West Asia kind of thing, how the organization should be able to adopt to the change. This is a big challenge. Some organizations do it very well. Some organizations, in panic or whatever, they might take some wrong decisions or whatever. This may create a bigger problem for the organizations. So the clarity of change is required at the individual level, at the team level, and at the organization level. That is very important, Raja.
Absolutely, Abdulji. And the way I see this, even if you think of the current VUCA situation, I think this is the right time for us to experiment with AI because the more we experiment with AI, gives us a runway to make mistakes. We will
Yeah.
learn as we go. Not trying to learn is worse than failing. That's the way I see this.
Yeah.
The more you learn, the more experiments that you do with AI, you'll become those organizations will actually tear away the old structure and build something new.
Hmm.
And they are the
Correct.
organizations where people will be wanting to work in for the next 20, 30, 40 years.
Great. So one more question from Balaji, Aditya Chavan. Can you just flash that question, Jyoti? So just I will read it out. Uh, what about the organization size? Yeah, this is one more question. Okay, I'm not sure
Organization
about. Mhm.
matter. Organization size really doesn't matter. It could be a small, it could be a behemoth, it could be a multinational, it could be geographically limited. It all depends on what the intent is. Am I going to make that change for my people and for the organization survival long term? If the answer to the question is yes, I better need to start moving into new ways of working. I need to go back to my architecture and start designing that an AI pod. If not, let's not change.
Okay, fantastic. There is a question. Do the leaders need recruit more personal assistants and personal secretaries in the AI era? this is this
I
is
think
very
it
interesting.
depends.
This
Yeah,
is very interesting.
I think it depends on what you want to do. If you feel that more AI assistants are going to help you, I don't think it adds any value. The value is in the outcome. If having two personal assistant bots helps you achieve more outcome than having somebody else go for it. But the rationale for every decision is the business value that the AI will generate for you, nothing else.
I think this question is a little different, Raja. So what Dr. Tangala is asking is, do leaders need to recruit more personal assistants, the people, I think, okay, and personal secretaries in the new era. So they need to have the team to help CEO or something, a person who knows more about AI, MMA. Okay. So what is your
So
take on
that,
that? It's very interesting.
yeah, so it's getting covered under the human AI pod, the three archetypes that I discussed. It could be an integrator, a validator, or the other guy. So that's the way you need to start thinking, and essentially don't go back to the old ways of putting boxes and a structure, the CEO minus one, CEO minus two to the nth level. That's not going to work. Put boxes with an outcome, put boxes with the three archetypes, and plan.
Fantastic. Excellent. I think this could we'll take a last question because we run out of time. Raja, is this applicable for startups at different stages? Of course, or investors being really look for these strategies or the blueprint when they invest in the business at the different stages of the project. Yep, very
I
interesting.
think this is a fantastic question and deeply thought through. I think for a startup, the priorities are different initially, but the moment you start showing that you have started thinking on a long-term vision of your organization, that definitely adds a lot of value for your conversations with the investors. So I think two-pronged answer, not an immediate need as the established organization, but this is definitely a value-added conversation with your investors. So if you ask me, Balaji, this will be definitely a good idea for you to put this into your pitch decks, saying you are thinking of the long term, and this is your long-term vision.
Fantastic question. I think
Yeah,
that's
this is
very,
a
very, very interesting insight, Raja Garu. I really enjoyed. So your explanation of the model and the insights, the questions, audience. Thank you, audience, for the fantastic questions. If you have any more questions to Mr. Raja, please post it. We'll make sure that these questions get answered. So thank you, Rajaji. Thank you very much, and for the
thank
joining the session. It's a wonderful lecture. Thank you very much.
thank you. Bye.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, wonderful sessions from two different point of views. I think this is going to be a great session as we go forward. So now let's go for a new session, the third session today. So the program will be live up to 7 p.m. IST. Okay, so we have three more sessions left now. So we are going to start. So entrepreneurial leadership in the AI era. This is the topic from John Jaya Samuel. So let us welcome. Thank you, Madam, Miss Samuel, for
Yeah.
joining the session today. Thank you. Welcome to the show. So let me give a quick round of introduction. John Jaya Samuel is a certified independent director and board member with over 30 years of experience across governance, operations, and the social impact. So she brings a unique blend of strategic insights, human-centric leadership, and driving ethical governance for the sustainable value creation. So she work her work focuses on strengthening CSR, inclusion, and community impact while building trust-driven organizations. So welcome,
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Samuel. Thank you very much for the session. Over to you.
Yeah, okay. Hello.
Governance, operations, and the
Yeah.
social impact. So she
Hello.
brings a unique blend of strategic insights, human-centric leadership, and driving ethical governance for the sustainable value creation. So she work her work focuses on strengthening CSR, inclusion
go
and
ahead?
community impact.
Yeah,
While
we can
trust
let
grow
My screen is
trust-driven
visible, sir?
organizations. So welcome,
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Samuel.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the session. Over to you.
Yeah, okay. Hello.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Data Labs, Mr.
Governance,
Abdul Kader.
operations, and the
Yeah.
social impact. So
Hello.
she brings a unique blend of strategic insights, human-centric leadership, and driving ethical governance for the sustainable value creation. So she work, her work focuses on strengthening CSR, inclusion,
go
and
ahead?
community impact.
Yeah,
While
we can let
trust
go.
My screen is
trust-driven
visible, sir?
organizations. So welcome,
Thank you, sir.
Ms.
Okay.
Samuel.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the session. Over to you.
Yeah.
So, madam, one query is from FPO. I'm sure. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Data Labs, Mr.
Governance,
Abdul Kader.
operations, and the
Yeah.
social impact. So
Hello.
she brings a
Madam,
unique blend of
yes.
strategic insights, human-centric leadership, and driving ethical governance for the sustainable value creation. Inclusion
Go ahead?
Ma'am, now you can go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm here. I'm getting overlap.
Actually,
can
your
go ahead.
screen, yeah, ma'am, your both
Okay.
screens are in unmute, so that why the echo has happened. Now here I have just muted your session one. Okay, you
Okay.
can now go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank Data Labs and Mr. Abdul Kader for this wonderful opportunity. Mr. Adappa for introducing me to this great event. This is actually something really great, and I'm glad to be a part of it. And we are living through a moment where artificial intelligence is not changing technology, it is changing leadership, especially Gen X leaders like us. Can I close one screen?
Yeah, ma'am, you can now open your presentation screen. Yeah, this would be, yes, ma'am. Which one you want to close, ma'am?
No, because yeah. Now can I go ahead?
Yeah, you can go ahead now.
Okay, yeah. So now we are living through a moment where artificial intelligence is not just changing technology, it is changing leadership, especially when Gen X leaders like us. So we are facing this difficulty to in the transformation. In this session, we will look at how entrepreneurial leadership is evolving in the age of artificial intelligence and how leaders can navigate innovation, governance, and opportunity. எனக்கு நான் பேசுறதுக்கு எனக்கு ரிப்பீட் கேட்டே இருக்கு. ஆக்சுவலி இந்த ஸ்க்ரீன் தான் ஷேர் பண்ணிருக்கோம்.
Ma'am, what happened? can just select the screen. Ma'am, you can select the PPT screen. Yeah, it's fine, ma'am.
Every generation of leaders faces a new challenge. For some, it was industrialization. For others, it was internet. For us, it is artificial intelligence. When I say internet, the paperwork which we were doing, with this large records which we used to write, and when there was a computerization taken over, we always had this. We had this. Uh,
Screen share and then reshare again. I think there is some, yeah, stop it and reshare again. Yeah, reshare. Go to the next button, share screen, click on it. Then it will go to the last window. Then share the entire screen. When you click screen share, so there will be three windows open. One is the last screen is the entire screen. So when you go to the entire screen, just click on the button, click on it, click on the left side, and then when the moment you click it, the share will be activated. Just share it. Likewise. Yeah, now we can see the screen. So put your
yeah,
presentation. Yeah,
yeah,
now it is
okay.
perfect. Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
okay,
Go ahead.
okay, sir.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And for us, it is artificial intelligence. So when there was an internet transformation happening, in my experience, I used to write in long registers where we still believe that this computer is not going to take over. Let's have uh, this backup, because anytime they might come up and ask for the record, and let's have this record ready, even though we were doing it in computer. And then it took for some time for us to really get into it, that yeah, okay, this is really changing, and this records are no longer needed, and this computer was so easy, even we could sort out, and even in Excel or whatever the CRM which we are working, made it so easy for us. So now, when we talk about AI movement, so what exactly is this AI movement which you're talking about? The transformation of the AI is the what AI is. See, when we say AI, we think it is just chat GPT. So to me, I say, oh, I know chat GPT, so that is all about AI. But AI is much, much bigger than that. It's not just technology shift, it's a leadership transformation, because it is changing how decisions are made and how it gets done and how organizations create value. This is why AI must be understood just not as a tool, but as an organization shift. And this is where things become interesting. Technology wave reshapes industry. History shows us that every major technology wave creates a clear divide. Some companies adopt early and others disappear quietly. I'm just going to quote one example of Kodak. Kodak, which was one of the global leaders in photography. In fact, Kodak engineers invented the first digital camera in 1975. But leadership feared that digital photography would destroy their profitable film business. Because of this hesitation, Kodak delayed embracing the digital future, which competitors moved ahead. Eventually, Kodak filed bankruptcy in 2012. Another big example where the technology, I'm talking about where they delayed in adopting the technology. In 2000s, Nokia dominated the global mobile phone market and controlled nearly 40% of the global sale. However, when smartphones began transforming the industry, competitors began building software driven ecosystems around their devices. Nokia continued focusing mainly on hardware. Within a few years, there was a dramatic shift in the mobile industry, and Nokia couldn't sustain the market, and they vanished. The lesson is simple. The pattern is always the same. Those who Respond early, create advantage, while those who hesitate lose relevance. If this is the lesson, then what is the real question, the leadership question? The most organization focus on using AI tools. There is no doubt about it. There's no hesitation whether we are going to use AI or not. The real question is not should we use AI. The real question is how do we build AI native organization. And because of AI is not just changing tools, it is reshaping our organization decisions, operate and create values. So what does this looks like in practice? So we know in theory that AI has to be taken over. AI is the next transformation which is going to happen. But when it comes to really, when we talk about the AI native enterprises, what does it take in practice? Behind the screen, AI is integrated into operations, managing the inventory. Huge companies where they have a huge inventory is being taken care of. It supports decisions, predicts demands, it enhances the product and services, it gives personalized recommendations, and it shapes customer experiences, making it seamless and tailored. Let me explain this with an example. Think of a grocery store in a traditional store. Stock is checked manually. Reordering is based on experience. Offers are the same for every customer. Now imagine a AI-enabled grocery store. AI integrates into operations. It automatically tracks inventory and reorders before stock runs out. And this is what we are talking about. Each customer gets personalized offer, not generic discounts. If in an AI native organization, intelligence is not added later, it is integrated into everything. AI becomes part of the organization DNA. And when we say like no AI, now okay, now we know when in practice which what we are going to do. But what initially is the essential thing is the founder's mindset. Building AI native organizations starts with the mindset, and specifically a founder's mindset. What new value can we create? This is the founders ask, but the managers ask, how do we control cost? So when you are AI, this is what the difference is. AI does not reward incremental thinking, it rewards bold, value created thinking. To truly leverage AI, leaders must think less like managers and more like founders. So, what does a founder's mindset looks like in practice? It shows up three qualities. So, okay, now it is decided, but what does an AI leader requires? First thing is the curiosity. uh, it does not start with the AI does not start with answers, it starts with questions. Curious leaders don't assume they know everything. They keep digging deeper and ask deeper questions. What patterns are we missing? So they don't say we already have the pattern in hand, we already have the data in hand, we have everything in hand. They don't say that. The AI curiosity is what patterns are we missing, what data are we still missing, what can we do differently. And because in today's world opportunities are not always visible, they are hidden under the data. So unless you dig deeper and ask more questions, the curiosity is what brings those opportunities to surface. Okay, so now you've got the opportunity in surface. So now what does, and next the trait is experimentation. So AI cannot be implemented perfectly from day one. Yes, we agree. It requires continuous testing and learning. Success organization don't wait for perfect solutions. They start small, run pilot projects, and build prototypes. And most importantly, they learn fast because every experiment, whether successful or not, creates insights. And those insights lead to better decisions and better sustainability. In the AI era, the goal is not to avoid failure, it is to learn faster, which takes us to the next trait is the speed of learning. See, nowadays everybody expects speed. In the past, uh, con- Competitive advantage came from size, scale, or capital. Today, it comes from how fast you learn. Because in an AI driven world, the faster you learn, the faster you adopt, or the faster you innovate. Organizations that experiment and learn quickly continuously improves their system and stay ahead of the competition. It's not the biggest organization that win, it is the fastest learners that win. Now let's take a step back and look at how the traditional growth worked. Traditional, we all worked in the traditional way of working. I'm sure all the Gen X leaders worked in the traditional model. If a business wanted to grow, it needed more people, more capital, and more growth was directly linked to resources. In other words, scaling was linear. See, when you say they were, working in a company, they usually in a traditional way, they use how many people company is that. So the growth, the measurement of the company was measured by the number of people. If you wanted to double the output, you had to almost double your input. Growth was limited by how much you could invest. Now, when it comes to AI, changes is completely. First, automation drives efficiency. Tasks that once required people and time now can be done instantly at a larger scale. Second, data powers smart decisions. And we have the data. Leaders do not no longer keep guessing. They are acting based on the real time data. And most importantly, growth is no longer linear. Organization can scale without increasing resources at the same rate. AI allows organizations to grow faster and less with less resources. Now, this leads to an important shift. We know what the traits of a leader is in AI. So now the shift is that today small teams can create massive impact. With AI, a small group of people can build products, serve thousands, even millions of customers because AI amplifies productivity. It removes limitation that once existed. It accelerates innovation and productivity. In today's world, it's not about how big your team is, it's about how effectively you use intelligence. And it is also changing how they create value, which takes us to the next wave or next important transformation which we have to be ready for is the platform economy. Now there are another important shift is because today people are no longer just products, they are becoming platforms. A platform connects different participants, users, service providers, and partners. Add value is not created by the company alone, it is created through interactions between all these participants. To take an example of this Amazon, it started as a bookstore, but today it connects buyers, sellers, and services as a single in a single platform. 250 million plus Prime members all around the globe are using apart from the other businesses of Amazon, creating a massive ecosystem. The most successful business today does not just sell products, they use platforms and enable others to create value. And this again leads to the very powerful thing is which is the network effort. It's like a going on and on process. It's a cycle where more users are more data is generated. That data improves the system, making it smarter and more relevant. And as the system improves, it attracts even more users. This goes on and on. This is what creates exponential growth. So what does all this mean to a leaders shift? It requires fundamental shift is how we think. Leaders can no longer focus only on products, they must think in terms of ecosystem, build partnership and network. And think of a shop where it creates its own products and sells its own products. Now think of a shopping mall. It does not create all the products, it brings together multiple stores. That's how the AI native company also works. All and creates value by connecting them. That's the shift we are talking about, from building products to building ecosystem. It's not just about what we create, it's about how we enable others to create value. Leaders does not build business, they build ecosystems. And now let's look at how AI creates real advantage. What are the advantages of AI? First advantage would be automation. uh, AI can handle repetitive routine tasks much faster with greater accuracy. Let's take an example of JB Morgan, one of the greatest financial services company. The JB Morgan AI is used to review thousands of legal documents. Works that once took hundreds of hours now takes seconds. And what does thus do? It frees people and with the routine work. So it doesn't mean the people will be removed from the system, but people are free to do creative work, strategy, and judgment. AI does not replace people, it elevates how people contribute. And next advantage is the data driven decisions. The second advantage, organization today have access to massive amount of data. Of course, there is a lot of data leakage which is happening these days, but the real value comes from turning that data into insights. AI helps leaders make decision faster and move accurately. This leads to a better customer experience and leads business outcomes. Better decisions are made faster, create competitive advantage. The third advantage is the which AI brings is the speed. See, in today's world, no, as a user, as a customer, I'm sure all of us would have booked a cab on in Uber or Ola, but not we are not willing to wait for more than 5 or 6 minutes. This is what the speed the world is moving. Speed is just not important; it is a competitive advantage. So AI enables real-time insights, which means decisions can be made instantly. For example, this algo trading in stock markets, AI system analyzes data and execute a trade in milliseconds, much faster than human could ever think. And this speed can make the difference between leading the market or falling behind. If, if it's not about making the right decision, it's about making it at the right time. Now, while AI creates tremendous opportunity, it also brings important challenges that leaders must be aware of. The first challenge would be data privacy and security. As organizations rely more on data, protecting the data becomes crucial. This is where the leaders come into place. The second is the bias and ethics. AI systems learn from historical data, and that means bias can unintentionally lead to unfair decisions. Third, there is a danger of over reliance on automation. Leaders cannot allow AI to replace human judgment completely, especially in important decisions. The last disadvantage is the capacity gaps. Many organizations still do not have the skills, mindsets, or internal readiness to use AI effectively. Take example, if an AI approved loans, AI is used to even approve loans. In this, it involves sensitive customer financial data leakage. If the system is trained on historical leading platform patterns, it can also create bias, unfair outcomes. There is also the risk that leaders may just trust the score too much instead of applying human judgment. And financially, and finally, it needs skilled team to interrupt the challenge and output responsibly, which means there are these are not, just not the technology change, there are leadership responsibilities. This is more of governance becomes critical. It ensures AI used responsibly, ethically, and transparently. This is where our leadership role comes into place in terms of governance, which has become very crucial. AI creates opportunities, but it also demands responsibility. And that brings to the most important and the last thing is final messages. We have spoken about mindset, experimentation, learning, scaling, and platform. But at the heart of all this transformation is one simple idea: human intelligence has its own value, and AI should amplify it, because technology may accelerate change, but leadership will determine what that change becomes. Most importantly, the future belongs to leaders who combine human judgment and machine intelligence. Thank you.
Wonderful lecture, Ms. Samuel. I really like the last closing comment. Human intelligence has its own value,
Yes, sir.
and AI must amplify it. That's fantastic. You talked some very nice examples in your presentation, like what other companies like in banks what they are doing, and also you talk about some very interesting case studies like Kodak and other things. Now, what is see? There are three, four key questions for everybody. Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
what is your advice for the people, employees, uh, how to manage this a transformation in their lives? Then, what is your advice for the companies or to who do the business? And then the third is in general for the governments and other things. What is your advice uh, from your perspective? Yeah.
Okay. From the leader's point of view, first thing is the acceptance that AI can accelerate the work. And so, first testing can be done when there is an automation can be done where the routine work is involved. You go on and on doing the same checking or same work where the experiment has to be done there. That would be the best thing to start with as an entrepreneur or as a leader, to change the automation in where the routine work is, you keep doing the same work again and again, where only then you get the time to think of something else instead of replacing it with something else, going to the next thing. That will be the, and for the employees, it should be a continuous learning. AI is not a one time project. I've done the certification, I'm done, I'm an AI enabled employee. It cannot be done that way. It has to be a continuous learning process where you have to update yourself what's happening in the market, and you keep learning and you keep updating is the best thing for the employee to do. And when it comes to government, it has to be all centralized. uh, Even the so that it can be easy, like Mr. Abdul Kalam, for when I was reading his book, he used to refer, he centralized all the legal cases, where it wherever he is, wherever in the world he is, he used to download today where and which place the legal cases are going to be done, which helped the legal cases to close down drastically.
Mhm.
So he had this centralization of legal cases, which he took the effort, and
Mhm.
he made it possible. And it is possible. That's what is my thing. In government might think this is not, because huge data is involved, huge human data is involved. So this has to be done where you can really get things done, and you can close down on the what you are really thinking of.
Fantastic. There are a couple of questions and comments. Okay.
Okay.
So, Shivakumar, so it's a very interesting question. Jyoti, if you can flash that question. Sir, over the decades, hundreds of softwares like SAP, CRP tools came into the market. Companies started using it and getting trained and implemented. Likewise, AI. Okay, so why this much importance and hype to AI? That's very tricky question. Yeah. So, Miss Samuel, please, would you like
Yeah,
to answer that?
it is a tricky question. So even I used to think, why so much of hype for AI? But
Mhm.
this AI, the difference between a SAP or a CRM or a AI is it's global. AI is global. So it is all used over the world. but when it comes to SAP, or it used to be used in one organization, and we used to put in so much of effort to get that data published. But when it comes to AI, it is all in a very larger scale and much speeder. So this is where AI is
Mhm.
uh, more important. Even the kids are using now. The AI has been so friendly that even the kids are using AI, and every phase of life people are using AI. You might
Fantastic.
add some point to it, sir.
Yeah, I would like to add a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
more
I know. Yeah.
because I come from the technology background. So
Okay.
basically, what all SAP, ERP tools and other were doing is the deterministic approach. Okay, so when you do any business operations like in the warehouse or transportation or manufacturing, it's a deterministic. So you need to set an invoice, and the invoice amount should be 100% correct. There is no question about it. So this is the deterministic approach where all the software so far came out, and there is something a probabilistic approach. So this probabilistic approach, usually they were doing like by analysis. Okay, it's usually done outside the system so far. Okay, but when AI came into this, so AI is more or less like a probabilistic approach. Okay, so with the given type of data, so it give you the potential. It will give some projections kind of thing, and it will guess what it could be in a most educated guess based on historical data and whatever. So these are the two different things. So all the softwares, especially the operations management and all softwares are deterministic, follow deterministic approach, and AI follow the probabilistic approach. This is a big change actually. This is the
Okay.
biggest
Okay.
change. So because of this, what happens is adoption to the probabilistic approach is not easy as a human. Okay, so we are not used to it, and also supported by the technology. How this the large language models and other technologies doing is makes life much easier. Which earlier, when of before 20 years or something, if you want to learn something new, you need to buy a book, physical hard copy, and learn. So then you have a digital editions, then it become a little easier. Now with AI and all, it is much easier to do that. Okay, so the second difference is, so all these ERPs and other things are touching the business processes. So automation of the processes in the organizations. Now AI brings something which is unknown. Okay, how to eliminate the process or how to simplify the process, how to make it the process irrelevant. So the change is very drastic. Okay, that is the reason it is
Means very
very
drastic.
impact, and it's a big revolution, I can say. So we have to adopt, and we there is a long way to go. There is a great way to go ahead, and we still need. We keep hearing something very
Yeah.
important developments in AI also. Yeah. So one more
But
question.
there's nothing to get scared of, is my opinion. Yeah.
It's always,
Yeah.
there is always change. Change is a permanent thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So one question is, one should do from Mayank Trivedi. One should do an AI assessment thoroughly. Step one should be complete operational excellence based transformation. Follow that with automation, hyper automation, and RPA. Blah blah blah. Yeah, it's a statement. Deep learning while keeping systems in checks and balances. Okay. So one more is only looking at mundane tasks will not help AI. That is basic simple automation. AI infra is vastly different. That is where enterprise-wide assessment. Next, that's good. That's good points. Uh, yeah, we have few more minutes, madam. Uh,
Yeah.
so, yeah, as I said, so what is your advice for the people, companies? You already answered that. How do you do that in your own organization and your peers? How any experience you are doing it with AI? Mhm.
Uh, Actually, speaking, the challenge is, I think you also mentioned, implementing AI in the manufacturing unit becomes a problem. So when it is a manufacturing unit, more of physical work is involved. So where do we implement AI itself is a problem. So we are really not able to implement AI in one sector. In one sector, it goes without AI itself.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm from a manufacturing unit now. I'm the operations manager. So also, so there I'm able to see AI doesn't come into picture at all. and this is a challenge, I feel, because I do not know whether we really have to implement and where.
Correct. Yeah, just to add it to that, madam, for the manufacturing, especially when you talk about the mid-size Indian company or any other, okay. So IT investment, IT is an expense. That's a mindset problem.
Yes.
IT traditionally for last 15, 20 years, they consider IT as an expense, not as a asset, as an investment for them. So because of that, they did not spend a lot of money and preparedness for that. Because of that, what happened is you need the basic infrastructure in place, the data infrastructure. It is not there. Okay, so it is okay without AI. It's okay for them. It's
Yes.
okay, so they can save some money. But now with AI, it demands you have a proper data structure in place. Okay, now the manufacturing people, the organizations are little exposed because they don't have a proper infrastructure in place, and henceforth they cannot use AI properly. So they have to build that data infrastructure at least to the level where it is required.
Required.
And second point is with AI, they need data with them, with their cloud or whatever they do it. It's because they cannot share their data to outside. The key things, the AI should be the local for them. That is very important. Otherwise, what happens? It goes to outside. The core competitiveness may be the problem. The
Yes.
confidentiality may become a problem. So there are some things organizations are not changing. So the basic structure they are putting up in place. So once you do that, I think AI will be adopted very nicely in manufacturing sector. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine, madam. Any closing thoughts? Any closing thoughts?
I That's what, as I already said, this human thing is more important when it comes to
Mhm.
management, because the governance and human intelligence has its own value.
Fantastic. So thank you very much and have a
Thank you,
wonderful
sir.
day.
Thank you, sir.
I really enjoyed. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah. So give a big round of applause to Mr. Samuel. Thank you very much. Uh, it's my session now. So just give a quick round of introduction. I talk about I am CEO of Data Labs India and another of company Fruit Strategy. So today we talk about Fruit Strategy. Fruit Strategy is helps organizations to implement their strategies, the plan, they formulate and execute their strategies. We talk more about it. See, today I'm talking about specific topic. I don't want to talk any general open topic. Small, but very very focused topic. I'll share my screen. Okay. So let me share my screen if you are able to see it. Yeah, I hope you are able to see it. Just confirm, Jyoti, if you say yes, because I cannot. Okay. Are you able to see it, Jyoti? If you are able to hear me, just confirm so that I can take it up because I cannot see myself. Mhm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are able to see your screen, sir.
Thank you, because I'm not able to see myself.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so today we are talking about something specific. Okay, something specific, that strategy in the era of AI. Okay, so we are talking about annual planning to continuous intelligence. This is the topic. So very subtopic in the strategy management. So redesigning the strategy analysis, formulation, and execution for adaptive enterprises. This is the topic what we talk about today. Okay, very quick introduction from my side. CEO of Data Labs India and Fruit Strategy. So my experience goes into strategy management, manufacturing excellence, and supply chain excellence. Okay, so I have some certifications to my credit and continuous learner. So I am the solution architect for FUSI, a supply chain excellence suite, and Fruit Strategy. If anybody wants to reach me, just we have a contact number there. Please do that. Okay. So now let's go to the important topic. Okay. So why strategy management is under pressure? Okay, it's a because of the AI. So it's very interesting. Many we have to listen many points. All are valid. Okay, I am talking about very few focused area where this will help the strategy managers and then the senior leaders. Traditionally, if you see, The strategy models are designed for stable markets, predictable demand, okay, annual budgeting cycles, a limited data availability. So this is the usually traditional strategy models. So annual strategy cycle is very important with the current. I cannot say it's a legacy; it's a current. Okay. So now what is happening with the AI? Complete change of thought process is happening now. The reality is, so volatile supply chains, real-time consumer shifts, margin compression, technology disruption, and AI-enabled competitors. Now, this because of this, you need to change. Okay, so how do you change? That's a question. So traditional strategy to AI-driven strategy. So we are talking specifically about reviews, the strategy formulation cycles and all. So I'm not talking about in general strategy kind of thing, so that it will be very easy to understand. So, so it is going from periodic process to a continuous process. This is the number one change. So it's a reactive instead of going from reactive mode to predictive mode. Okay. So lagging KPIs to leading indicators. So you do that. So manual analysis to AI augmented intelligence. We will talk about this when you go out. Static capital allocation to dynamic reprioritization. Okay. So this is something very major change in the structural change in the strategy management. Okay. So strategy is becoming a more intelligent system. So that's the whole idea. So before we talk about more about how the AI is deployed, I'll just talk top maybe three most popular or more popular methodologies. So I start usually my preferred approach is to start with the methodology. So the screen what we see is the execution premium approach. We call it as a balanced scorecard approach for the strategy management. So it has a framework to help you. Like first you do the strategy analysis where you do the external analysis, internal analysis, and do some scenario plannings and all. Then you formulate your strategies. Okay, so you close that gap from the strategy by strategy analysis, whatever you find in external, internal, and other things. So you formulate your strategies. So in formulation of strategy, what does that exactly mean is you come up with a value proposition to serve your customer. So that's a business. Okay, so to give that to deliver that value proposition to your customer, you need capabilities. So closing that capability is your strategy management actually. Okay, so that's how it is. Okay, now the strategy cannot be understood just like that by everybody. So you need to translate strategy. Then you need to align the whole organization. So I'll just take one step back. Translate strategy means you need to have a proper cascading of the whole strategy, which is meaningful for everybody in the organization. Okay, so that you could use the balance scorecard, you could use the objectives, measures, targets kind of thing that we will talk about more as we go on. So aligning the organization means, see, organization means a set of business processes performed by people through systems. Okay, so and there are operations and projects. So all these things need to be aligned to deliver your strategy. So you get the desired business results what you want. So aligning the organization is very critical. The planning of the operation for a cycle. So this is very tricky part. It's a yearly planning, monthly planning, quarterly planning, weekly planning, daily planning. There is a tremendous planning process goes on in the organization, and you do the execution like operations and projects. Then monitor and learn. So you need to reviews like operational reviews and strategy reviews. The operational reviews could be daily, weekly, monthly. Strategy reviews could be monthly, quarterly, and yearly kind of thing. Test and adopt. So what happens is whatever strategy is working and whatever is not working, you review it and do it. And this whole usually this cycle is yearly process. Like you test and adopt is a yearly once you do it. But because of the AI, so there is a tremendous change in the adoption. The steps does not change, but adoptions change. So there is another approach called OKRs, even though it is not really a strategy execution solution, but it's very popular. Many people use it. It helps you to create a focus on a particular objective and then try to achieve that results. If that objective is really helping your strategy, fine. If it is not, then it will have a problem. So you identify, I mean, it's a OKR is basically a prioritization. So if you want to do something, you focus on one objective and then achieve it. Okay, and you don't have to focus on everything else. Okay, all the regular activities you don't have to focus. That's what OKR is saying. Methodology says. Then there is something called Hoshin country. So basically in operational, some basically in manufacturing organizations, okay, adopt very heavily. It is more or less similar to balanced scorecard approach, but the way they define initiatives and measures and objectives is a little different. Okay, so all there are multiple methods like play to win kind of thing. There are in if you take up everything together, if you put it in a very simple manner, so we can classify them as strategy analysis, formulate strategy, align the organization, and execute strategy, and then witness the transformation. This is usually done. Now we would like to see how does that happens in each stage of the strategy. Okay, so in strategy analysis, what happens is traditional approach is external and internal analysis, annual review cycles, manual data preparation. So this is very important. Uh, this is an important step what we used to do it. Now the limitation is historical view, lagging indicators, static assumptions. So when we do classical strategy analysis, so there are some set of indicators and assumptions which we document it properly and then do everything else. Now with AI enabled, so you can sense market very in a dynamic way. So you can monitor competitor activities in a very dynamic way, and you can get the details, cost volatility detection, so you can find in a real time intelligence. So performance drift alerts and risk probability. So all these things can be done through AI now very easily. So this is a big change. Okay, so this is a big change. So the new capability is a strategic radar system. Okay, now with this new strength, so your traditional strategy analysis will be optimized. So this is one major change in one of the first step of strategy analysis. Then when you go to strategy formulation, so the big change is, so when in the traditional strategy formulation, by far this is most non-standard process in the entire business operations, I can say. So strategy formulation is everybody do their own way, but in general what they do is you arrive at the value proposition, and then this value proposition is executed. To deliver this value proposition, you need capabilities. To close the capability gap, you come up with a strategy plan. So that's in general that done. Okay. So basically, in the strategy formulation, what it happens is, okay. So it's a leadership workshops. So 3 to 5 years plans in general, strategic themes and initiatives, and financial projections. So as an outcome of strategy formulation, one of the outcome is the strategy projections. Now, what is the challenge is, so limited scenarios. So you cannot have a manually when you do it. You have a very limited scenarios, cognitive bias, underestimated risks, so weak operational linkages. All there are some challenges in the strategy formulation. Now AI augmented. So what AI supports completely different is from opinion led to so simulation and tested strategy. So this is where, so AI supports multi-scenario planning. Okay, so growth pathways simulation. So you can do simulation in multiple things, not necessary in one direction. There are multiple things. Portfolios, you can test portfolios, risk adjusted impact modeling, and stress testing. All these are possible because of the AI adoption. Okay, so this is a direction which is going for the continuous planning process. So when you talk about strategy translation, so when you have a strategy, for when you formulate strategy, the next step is, so you have a strategy, you identify key strategic objectives. Of course, it is a part of strategy formulation processes. Then you identify measures for that, KPIs, and then to close the gaps, you do the initiatives. This is classical strategy translation process. So there is a problem in this. So we have a themes defined, KPIs assigned, targets, initiatives. So problems, KPI conflicts, okay. So misaligned targets, resource overload, and disconnected initiatives. So without AI, so with the traditionally, the KPIs you have defined, sometimes it gets conflicts. Okay, even you usually we identify some conflicts and resolve them, but there are something which we don't know. Okay, when we define all the KPIs and all, there are some things which is beyond the people who do the strategy formulation and all. Sometimes there is something missed. With AI, what happens is you do that very well. KPI coherence, validation, okay, so impact scoring, conflict detection, the alignment scoring, and feasibility prediction. So new strategy coherence, okay, it's a very coherent way you can do with AI. So current whatever strategy processes you are doing it, you can do it in a more or less unorganized way. Okay, so alignment in organization. Okay, organization alignment as part of strategy execution. Strategy execution. So this is here you align business processes, people, projects, systems, risks, and structure to the strategy. So here what happens is in traditionally the organizational alignment has a problem. So like when you do organizational alignment, there is a communications and campaigns you do, department targets, incentives, performance reviews can. So what is the limitation? So misaligned incentives can create a bigger problem. Strategy fatigue, okay, low visibility. There are some alignment problems in the organizations where first of all, properly aligning the organization itself a big problem, and then you have limitations on top of it. Now AI is democratize the strategy process, and especially the organizational alignment. You do that. So like track initiatives and KPI alignment, so detect resource conflicts, and then monitor capacity overloads and analyze variance patterns. For example, okay, so when I have I'll show some real-time scenario where through strategy you do that. So you have data. So what is working properly and what is not working properly, what is the performance, all those. Then AI can help you to read all that and give you some interconnected insights where which otherwise it's very hard to identify. So that is something which AI can do it in a decent way. So in strategy execution, basically strategy execution is doing uh, your operations and projects in a more successful way. Okay. So in the performance management, basically what happens in the strategy management I'm talking about. So it's monthly reviews. Okay, so monthly reports, you submit them for the review. So manual actions, so what are the actions we need to do as part of strategy? Okay, corrections. So after 1 month, when you do the strategy review, you identify the actions, you correct it. So this is usually a practice in strategy management, a monthly process. It could be quarterly reviews. So by the time deviation is visible, maybe damage is already done. So this is something, a problem with the current strategy models. So AI will help you to do this. So AI can early deviation alerts. So whenever there is a change, and since AI has the access to the data, so it can detect the deviations. You don't have to wait 1 month, as simple as that. And it can do the course correction even for the strategy also. So this creates a bigger, there is a big level difference of strategy and operations, and this the difference will be closed because of the AI. So strategy management can also be managed more or like operations, given the capability of AI to do that. Okay, so you can have a root cause analysis, KPI forecasting, initiative risk scoring. By the way, all these things are already in progress. So through strategy, we are already adopting all these things for our customers. Okay, so in the strategy refresh, when you do the strategy refresh mechanism, okay, so it's like annual review, okay, budget reset, revised targets, new initiatives. So it's when you do, like especially in the month of, if your calendar month is your calendar month is January to December, usually it start in August, September. If your calendar month is April to March, usually it starts in December. Okay, so it's a basically reactive approach. So continuous strategy refresh. You don't have to wait until the end of the year to do the strategy refresh. You can do it at any point of time. So like rolling forecast kind of thing. So AI enables you to assumptions tracking. So the assumptions you made can be tracked. So ROI attribution, real-time risk updates. So you don't have to wait until you validate them. So capital reallocations and adaptive prioritization. These are the things which is possible due to strategy refresh. So new strategy architecture is AI-driven strategy includes continuous intelligence, simulation-based design, coherence engine, predictive monitoring, and closed-loop learning. So this is a new strategy architecture. But here, so human versus AI in strategy management is what AI can do and what human have to do it. For example, so AI handles complexity, the prediction part, the simulation and optimization. The humans will do the vision, the organization vision, what is required, the purpose, the risk appetite, ethics. All those things have to be done by the people. The final message is the strategy is moving from annual planning to continuous intelligence, the strategic roadmaps to adaptive systems. Okay, so reactive to predictive control. Is your organization ready? That's a question. Okay, so I would like to tell you something about this. Okay, so this is my final slide, but I'll show you something else. I'll stop screen share. Okay, uh, Discord. Okay, so maybe I'll stop screen share. I'll stop screen share. Yeah. Okay. I'll share screen a little, but we'll talk more about that. Okay. So basically, what happens is, to just to make it very simple, you have your measures or KPIs. Okay. So what we do in the strategy reviews basically is you have your strategy process with the KPIs. So what happened for last quarter, and then you see the performance, and then what could happen in the next quarter, kind of thing. So now with the AI, what happens is you have actual data of KPIs, you have a target. Now what we are thinking is you have another projected. So you have a target, actual and projected. Earlier, doing this projection is very complicated. Not, it's not really possible to do it. Okay, but not for all KPIs at least. But with AI, that can be done. So you can get an idea, and if you want to do any course correction in future, it can be highlighted now itself along with the reasons. Okay, so this is something which is very encouraging now to do that. The second thing is, in the projects, you don't have to wait for the project review meeting kind of thing. It can be continuously updated, and same thing with the risks and also and other part of the programs. So you can do that. Okay, uh, and there are multiple things in strategy management. This could be quite possible, especially when you have strategy reviews. So you have actions to be taken. The main point in the strategy review is, are we on track? Are we out of track? If you are on track, what is going on well and what is not going on well? Okay, how can you improve what is going on well, and how to manage what is not going well? So now you have actions. So what are the actions to be taken? Okay, so for the course corrections, this is what happen when we do that. This is what we do. So to course corrections. Now the beauty of AI is, so since AI has access to all the historical data, so all the strategic objectives. Okay, and then maybe there is some inputs for other things also. So this is, you can predict. Okay, so it can give you AI generated actions. You take it or not, you can leave that, by the way. So you can take it like a AI driven actions. Okay, now at least AI driven performance analysis. Okay, so you have something by default in the plate. So managers cannot be now say, okay, we come there to the review meetings and we present our case. No, there is somebody is there who is more intelligent and he knows everything, AI. So that can do that. I will show you something now. in the screen. Maybe I'll share my screen again. Stop screen sharing. I'll just share screen entire. Okay. I'll share my screen once again. If you are able to see my screen, okay. Just correct me, Joshna, if you. Sorry, yeah. Jyoti, if you
Yes,
just
sir. Yes, sir. We are able to see your screen, sir.
yeah. I'll just show a system.
Yeah, so please log in.
Okay. So when you do a system, I'll just tell how the AI will do the major change. Okay. I'm not going to talk about the whole system. So when you talk about balance scorecard or whatever, so you have measures like performance when you talk about. Okay. So let me show something for example, you have a floor mill division. Mhm. Let us say improve product quality. Okay. I don't know. Okay, something like that. Or maybe I'll just see enhance customer. Okay, I want to get something which is very easy to uh, remember. Okay, okay, maybe I'll see March 1 last year. 1 second, I'll just show you something. Increase production efficiency. I'm unable to see some comments, but anyways, okay. So what happens is basically, so when we have a KPI in place, actuals, and then you have target, you have performance, you have a status poor or whatever, you have a trend kind of thing, and then there is something called performance insights and recommended actions. You usually do that. Okay, so each owner will do that. Okay, so what happens is AI will automatically add its part. Okay, and then it will give you the leverage for the future. So how to do that? Okay, so I'll just cancel it. So likewise, so there is a fantastic way to measure. And then when you have uh, okay, so measure story. So when you have something like that, actual targets of the performance, there could be, see here in this graph for 2026 or whatever you take it. So you have like a Jan, February, March data. Okay, so you don't have data for whatever. So you can have projected data very easily. And then you can also find actions for that. I'll show you something very simple and very easy to understand. I don't want to, this is not a product demo, I just want to show you for, okay. So this is something like the balance scorecard or scorecard, whatever you call it. So likewise, if you see measure targets actuals, then you can add more points like this. So here you see the actions, analysis, and recommended actions. When I put here, you see it. So these things can be generated by AI. Okay, so we have already done that. So there could be multiple levels of your KPIs. So this AI will give you a fantastic insights what you do it. Like when you talk about AI Explorer. So mhm. Okay. So there is a lot of like you can do the interviews properly whenever you have done. You can conduct multiple interviews without adding a lot of value. So this is one thing where we can do that. So if you want to do so, start an interview, okay, so you can create a video. So if you want to do any interview in the organization, now what you can do is you can just give a link for the key people so they can answer it audio voice. The system can do the whole assessment of the things, of the inputs. It will give you the sentiment, and also it will give you how the organization is behaving for your strategy. Likewise, it's very simple, very faster. Earlier, it was not possible. You have to do it manually. This AI is doing a tremendous things. Like when you do the strategy analysis, for example, so when you want to do a pestle analysis, I'll just show you a very simple thing. Now, all what we need to do is you need to give the information. When you generate, it will write the prompt for you, and then you can choose whatever the models you want to use, whether it could be DeepSeek or Gemini or whatever, over ChatGPT or whatever. Then prompt also can be converted. So it will look like this. Okay, so it looks like this. So this is generated by AI. Okay, so you have an organization, year, version. So it will give you complete definition of pestle analysis early, and it is very close to what you think. I mean, like 70-80% it will give you. Of course, you can also add some additional other considerations and additional files if you want to do it. Okay, so with that, what happens is you have a very fantastic way to do the strategy analysis. So likewise, you can do a strategy analysis part. So you can have a performance reviews from you can do the performance reviews from strategy analysis. You can also use adopter methodologies like play to win kind of thing. So you can do that. Plays a major role. Most of the information is available in the public domain. You take it and then give some files, and then it will help you to do the strategy analysis. Okay, likewise strategy formulation part. So now there is something called strategy storytelling. So you can also use the AI for all the strategy analysis, all the documents. So you need to create stories to communicate to the people to make an impact. Okay. So now if you are doing something, it's not easy to communicate. So you need to sit an expert to prepare strategies, the stories, and communicate. Now with the system availability, it can be done very easily. So it will give you the narrative of the story. Then you can try with that. You can try and then modify whatever you want like to do that. And then you can also knowledge management. Now knowledge management is one area where in the strategy, as a part of strategy, so there are so many documents kind of thing, you store it. Of course, knowledge management is not about repository of document, it's a process. Okay, but here, you can ask a question from the knowledge management point. So you just ask a question, and system will help you to get an answer. Now there are 1,000 documents, 1,000 books, previous history, strategic documents. You just ask a question proper, yeah, then you get them. Okay, then one of the most important is you can have a data architecture also. So if you have a multiple data sets in place, so you can do that. So I think overall, what I'm trying to say here is, let me go back to the screen. Let me go back. Okay, sorry. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is AI is helping organizations to do a proper strategy, a proper adoption in the strategy management. Okay, and it's, of course, it is doing everywhere else, but in the strategy management also, the main thing is it is not a periodic thing, it's a continuous planning. I think that's the main area where I think we have a session at what time, Jyoti? Next is at 6 o'clock. So we have few more minutes. Okay, so if you have any questions, please post it. So I will be very happy to answer. So let me see if there is any questions. Like a demand and production planning, improve forecast accuracy 20-30%, helping balance demand and supply inventory process, real time analysis. You're right. See, when we do, I'll just take a couple of minutes here. So earlier, there is something called strategy planning, and then we have a business planning and budgeting, sales and operations planning, and then the rest of the operational planning goes. Now, because of AI, what is happening is the gap between strategy planning, sales and operations planning, and then your production scheduling or MPS or whatever you call it. So those gap is getting reduced. Now, so that is the good news for all the strategy leaders. Okay, so I'm basically a supply chain and manufacturing professional. And also I do a very nice strategy uh, execution things. So I know, so this gap has been closed by strategy analysis. So very in a very decent way. Okay, so I think that's you rightly said, Mayank. One important point I would like to add here. Now earlier, when you do any forecasting, so what we usually do is we use time series, right? So we use time series. So when you do, there is one demand flow forecasting model. What we have time series. When you do, you take the historical data, you adopt a technology, any methodology like exponential smoothing or whatever, project it. Where alpha value, beta value, or something, you assume. Okay, but with AI, it can predict your alpha value, beta value also, and it will give you the time series, and it will give time series with all methodologies. It could be exponential smoothing, or it could be whole Swinster or whatever, and then it will give you the weighted average with the best fit. Now there is one more trick. When you do your demand forecasting, you also can use external influences. Okay, so there are API, there are libraries available to include external influences like OR and other things. Then this also will update your forecasting. So that is a big change actually. Okay, and we tested that. When we do the testing and all, this model is doing very nice job, which otherwise we don't know what is happening. Okay, so World Bank uh, gives that library access to everybody, so anybody can use that. So all what we need is in the demand forecasting. When you do the pestle analysis or whatever, so you adopt that also. So when you do the demand forecasting, you adopt external variables. It will consider that also and give you the forecasting part. So that is something which is very interesting. And I think to conclude my presentation, the most important thing is strategy management process. The wavelength of strategy management process, monthly, quarterly, yearly, is reduced, and it could be a weekly, monthly, and quarterly. It is that you don't need it a yearly process anymore. That's my take. And the fru strategy, what exactly, when we started fru strategy, most of our clients, so they adopt that monthly, yearly, quarterly, yearly approach. Now everybody is going towards a weekly, a daily, weekly, and monthly, quarterly. So up to, with this approach, continuous approach, I think that is fantastic way to look at it. So I will be very happy to take up any questions. And since I am also moderator, so I don't want to take time. So I would like to quickly wrap up this in a minute. Uh, the conclusion is strategies, AI is very seriously adopted in strategy management. Okay, and there are more things which could definitely add value, but I'm not going to talk about that. My today's focus is to really give an idea that it's a continuous process rather than a periodic process. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. I hope Jyoti, our next guest speaker, is available. So maybe we can start few minutes early. Okay, in case if she's available. Mhm.
Yeah, sir. Just 2 minutes. He's supposed to join us. 1 minute, sir.
Okay. So any questions on that? Otherwise, I'll just try to navigate you through something through just until you get the details. Okay. So I will just try to put few more points in the. Okay. So what Fru strategy does is, so Fru strategy, what it does is, it takes care do the it help you to do the strategy analysis part. So organization structure, strategy analysis, positioning, the come up with a value proposition, capability gaps, revenue gaps, and then you do the scenario planning and market segmentation. Then it will help you to do balance scorecard. So complete balance scorecard, whether it could be strategic objectives, measures, KPIs kind of thing, and organizational alignment. So in the organizational alignment, it could be corporate unit to a business unit, SBU to SBU, align with the customers, everything. Okay, now when the organizational alignment, of course, it supports OKR with the full scale automation, so you can create objectives and key areas, then start measuring initiatives to close the gap. Okay, so enterprise PMO, it will help you to identify your portfolios, programs, and then manage them. The people performance is very important. So individual performance, team performance, 360-degree assessment. So weighted average of these three becomes your your performance. 9 marks model for current and future performance. I always use this Samsung example for the current performance and the future potential. So you need to, you shouldn't, high potential people should be definitely given chance. So okay, and then the competency management. So in the competency management, there are plenty of things like you define competencies, you create roles, trainings, and other things, and then succession planning. So you can also do the succession planning. So the business process excellence. So business process excellence will help you to identify the business processes, prioritize them. So what methodology should be applied? Okay. So what methodology should be applied for your business processes? It could be lean, it could be Six Sigma, whatever. And then how you adopt. Okay. So you can also do the value stream mapping. You get the performance reporting for the KPIs and process KPIs, not the product. Okay. So and then you have a process matrix. So you can do how this business process, maybe for example, when you talk about, so you can generate the matrix, how these business processes are aligned to the strategic objectives, and then you can know how this is done, kind of thing. Then you have a risk and compliances, so you can manage your risks and compliances in the organization. So you have a budgeting process. This is very important. So budgeting process almost always does not align with your strategy for many reasons. Now, because of the introduction of AI, this is really becoming a very, very, very interesting and very easy job. So you can have your operational expenses, capital expenses, and strategic expenses, and then projected financial statements. Okay. So organizational assessments, this is very important. So how do you assess your organization? For ESG strategy focused organizations, or organizational health index, or cultural readiness index. So I'll just take it one. So when you talk about organizational health index, so you can just give your, for example, uh, I don't know, let me see if I have a data. Okay. So when you have something, so you can identify what are the key things for your organization. Okay. And then you can identify them. So those who do that, so you can identify and then see the whole organizational performance, what is going on, like capability readiness index, you can do that. Okay. So there is office of strategy management. So this is a AI is one this is the area where AI will bring a lot of value. Okay. So when you do the strategy execution, like performance management kind of thing, it's almost always a challenge that somebody needs to do the preparation. Okay. That preparation part can be automated very easily. I'll just show you something here. So you have, for example, for this business unit and scorecard, so you have all measures, so many measures. Okay. So many measures. So now how people are notified to update their KPIs directly, you can generate from here. They send message, a notification. They update the data. You make sure that you check and then resend it and then close. Now all these things will be replaced by OSM agent, but the engine remains same. The engine remains same, but the agent will do the miracles. Okay, so agent will do the whole process and identify the exceptions and then notify to the administrators or the relevant people to take actions. So this is the change what is going on. Likewise, likewise, so you have many other things like okay, so in the performance reporting wise, so you have scores, organizational scores. So when we talk about organizational scores, it is completely different. Okay, so when you have something, Okay, so when you have something, you can see that. Okay, so this is the scorecard. There is a weightages. Okay, so you can see the full weightages of the score, like so this score 79% shows up for the whole business unit. Okay, so how this 79% came, we have a breakup for this. So this is how it is done. Okay, I think that's the main idea. I would like to stop screen share and then look forward. Yeah, I think I'm done for today's presentation. Okay, so please share your comments or any questions or any other any other things. Okay, so Jyoti is our next guest speaker ready, available. Welcome, Mr. Venkat. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're right. Am I audible?
Yeah, yeah,
Kadar?
yeah, you are
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah. Thank you.
So we just finished 4 sessions. Okay, very interesting insights. So I would like to welcome Mr. Venkat, and let me give a quick round of introduction. So Venkat Bobili is talking about governing AI in the boardroom imperative. So that is the topic. So Dr. Venkat is a human-centric AI leader and trusted advisor, helping enterprises scale AI with governance, security, and measurable return on investments. So he works at intersection of AI strategy, enterprise architecture, and responsible innovation. His focus is enabling organizations to adopt AI at a scale while ensuring trust, resilience, and regulatory readiness. So thank you, Dr. Venkat. Over to you. Yeah. Hmm.
Hi, everyone. Jyoti, can you bring up the slides? Next slide. Okay, so hello, everyone. So, because welcome to this session for the governing AI, the boardroom imperative. So, the imperative is in an AI era. So, the AI is reshapes every industry. Effective oversight is no longer as an optional or afterthought. It is a core fiduciary duty. Today, we will explore why boards must act now and what practical steps to take and how to balance innovation with responsibility. Let's dive in. Next slide. So, why AI governance matters now? As you see, so we will explore. So, what is the need for the AI governance? If I don't have the AI governance for my generative and AI agentic AI system, what will happen? So, as I mentioned in the previous also, AI is no longer experimental. It is core to strategy. Surveys shows most boards now allocate. So suppose when you take the example, I will explain about the image. So AI is transforming business models. Suppose it is like risks and competitive advantage. When you take these, because we have the regulatory pressures like NIST ARMF, ISO 42001 and 27001, and as well as the EU Act. EU Act is implementing from the August 2nd, 2026 onwards, and also other emerging global rules. Now boards that ignore, because now so most probably the main problem is boards are not prepared, but they are ignoring the AI governance phase. So if they ignore the AI governance, what is the like imperative means, like they need to face legal, reputational, and financial risks. So what is the opportunity we have? So AI can drive unprecedented value if governed wisely. If I don't, because if I don't, suppose my system is not comply with the AI governance framework or the regulatory framework, then what will happen? So so we need to the organization need to attract the like face the legal, reputational, and financial risks. Next slide, please. Okay, so in this, suppose we need to do like the boards, what fiduciary duty in the AI era is, because we need to take care about the, there are four, like when you see the diagram in the like right side, we have the loyalty, care, prudence, and good faith. So these four pillars will balance the opportunity and the risk. So the main duty of the care is like understand AI's impact on the company. Suppose if you are onboarding AI system into your company, so what is the like value and as well as the impact on the company. That is the main purpose of the duty of care. When you see the loyalty, so act in the best interest of the stakeholders, because in every organization will have the internal stakeholders and as well as the external stakeholders. So the loyalty, because no, so AI will give you the loyalty. Then next is the oversight responsibility. This is main thing, because when you onboard system and developing the AI use cases, then oversight is always required. Oversight means like human in the loop, collaboration frameworks, human in the loop, human on the loop, human out of the loop. These are the things, collaborative frameworks you can say, because in future human brains and machine brains work together. That intelligence is called as the co-intelligence. So in that case, now we need to monitor strategy, risk, and ethics. That is the oversight responsibility. So we are moving from awareness to literacy and active governance. Next slide, please. Okay. So every organization I wanted to implement AI. The thing is that now, okay, we can simply like onboard the AI system, generative and agentic AI, multi-agent systems, and robotic process automations. So the thing is that no, okay, we onboarded the system. Suppose if the people inside the enterprise or the organization, they don't have any AI literacy, then there is no use, right? That is a AI debt, like a technical debt. So the thing is that now we need to do the like we need to build the AI literacy across the organization once we onboard the AI system. So we need to like schedule regular AI tech-ins and expert briefings, because we need to invite the AI expertise and experts to briefing the employees. Ensure every director understands core concepts, generative AI, agents, and risk. Because the director should, the boardroom should understand about the basic core concepts. How can we leverage to solve our business problems? Like we need to understand about the generative AI, multi-agent system, and autonomous systems and risks. So once you are increasing the like intelligent artificial intelligence level from agents, generative agents, agentic agents, multi-agent, and autonomous agents, then what happens to the risk is compoundingly increasing. That is the main thing we need to concentrate. Okay, no need to become a coders. Focus on asking the right questions, because now here now when we are dealing with the artificial intelligence, we no need to be as a like a expect uh, coders, because now when you see the cloud also introduced cloud code, so that will do the everything almost like 70% work from end to end. Only 20% human in the loop is required, or human oversight is required. So better to ask like to get the more insights or the questions from the stakeholders to provide the best solutions by leveraging the artificial intelligence. Leverage internal and external resources for ongoing education. So these are all the like four main areas, so to take up to like improve the AI literacy in the organization. Next slide, please. So what is the strategic oversight of AI? So because uh, we need to like we need to have the like strategic alignment between AI initiatives and business goals. So that we need to take care, because in the diagram on the right side, it is indicating what are all the AI initiatives we are taking care and how to map with the business goals. So the central layer is the strategic alignment that should be there. So align AI strategy with overall corporate strategy, not like individual department, entire enterprise level enterprise AI strategy we need to develop. assess how AI impacts business models, workforce, and markets. This is very, very, very important. So once you onboard AI systems, then how it will impact your business models, workforce, how it is impacting. Because so I onboarded the AI systems into my organization, then how it is impacting, whether can I improve the productivity of the employee by leveraging these AI skills or not, how it is impacting the markets also. Evaluate capital allocation for AI investments. So we need to invest more money into the capital allocation. Set clear success metrics and review progress regularly. So these are the things. So we need to strategically alignment between the AI strategies and business goals will definitely give you the return on investment on the AI returns. Next slide, please. Okay, so because once you onboard the AI systems, so first of all we need to understand, because the every employee in the organization, they're using the AI systems, right? They're developing the AI agents, multi-agent systems, or the autonomous agent systems. Then what happens now? So once you are implementing AI use cases, we need to identify and managing the AI risks, like identify and mitigating the AI risk, you can say. So we need to do the maturity assessment on the existing applications and as well as the AI systems, that is enterprise wide. And we need to classify use cases by risk level. Risk levels will be different: high, medium, and low. Because so governance frameworks, we will always look into this risk level only. Suppose if you are using the AI system for an high stake decision system, then if that system don't comply with the AI governance frameworks and the regulatory frameworks, then that organization may attract the legality fines and regulatory brand reputation and all. So how to address these key risks? We need to check for the systems. So bias, hallucination, data privacy, any data leakage, cyber security. Cyber security means is different. Cyber security is for the like legacy application system security, but for AI systems we need to do the AI red teaming. This is the one of the new technology, to test your AI system for security. There now we will be having using the OWASP techniques and MIT RE Atlas techniques, tactics, techniques, and processes. So we will do the all kind of TTPs to test your system, whether your test how your prompt is responding to you. So because in the 2 months back, there was incident happened in India. So for the Grok LLM, right, and everybody knows about this one. So whenever the users are giving a prompt by giving one woman image, and the prompt, the user is trying to say that no, so the nudity of he is asking for the LLM, the Grok LLM, saying that no, I need the remove the the clothes like in the image. So it is doing that one. So this is the problem for the LLM that time. So almost our Indian government is compliant with the Grok system. Then they implemented this the prompt. Whenever we are giving the such kind of prompt, suppose if you try that prompt, then the system is saying that no, please try any another prompt. I cannot serve these kind of prompt response, prompt requests, like that. Integrate AI risk into the enterprise risk management, ERM, model review and monitoring, validating. These kind of things we need to do. We need to identify the risk, AI risk, and how to manage or how to mitigate those risks by having the by testing the maturity assessments, risk assessments, and AI red teaming, and cyber security and information security. These kind of the methodologies we need to use to address your key risks. Next slide, please. Okay. So here, because now we are talking about this is a very important thing. So what are all the human-centric AI principles we need to? This is like one of the kind of framework every organization is following. The first one, fairness and non-discrimination. So in that, no, so we need to. It will ensure the equitable outcomes for everyone. Suppose there is no discrimination. So based on the caste or gender or religion or irrespective of the country also. So that is the one of the thing we need to use. The below there are the different kind of the key activities we need to do to ensure equitable outcomes for everyone in the case of like fairness and non-discrimination. So second pillar is the transparency and explainability. This I will explain very clearly. Clear and understanding AI decision making. Suppose I developed one AI system. So inside AI system, I may use the one algorithm, right? So everybody need to suppose if that chatbot is deployed into the public uses, then I wanted to see the what is the logic, model logic or algorithm logic inside this. We need to understand and interpret the model. So that is the transparency and explainability. If no model is explaining this transparency and explainability, then that system is called as the black box. So we should not use the black boxes. We always use the responsible AI models. Those are called the glass box. Glass box will follow all the responsible AI governance principles. Okay. Then privacy and data protection. This is very important because when you are dealing with the AI systems or generative or agentic AI systems, so we should follow the regulatory compliances. My data should not be leaked because suppose if my data, if my one of the AI system is touching my data source system, which is of the like P2 data, personal identifiable information, and as well as the HIPAA compliance we need to follow, and GDPR compliance, those kind of things we need to follow for the to protect your data. So human oversight and control for high stakes systems, we need to always don't depend upon the machine decision making. Always you need to human oversight will be there. That is called as the human in the loop, HITL. That loop should be there. We need to validate the output coming from the AI system, and then only we can take the decisions. So that is the always required. That is the co-intelligence. System will take the decision based on the data. Then we will we will review the output, assess the output, whether the system is following correctly or not. Then that is called as the co-intelligence. Our work is now almost 99% of work done by the AI system, but 1% is very critical. There no our human intervention should be there. That is called as the human oversight. Next is societal and environment impact. Suppose we need to see about the how responsibility. So we need to see privacy, security, accountability, transparency. So we need to make sure that so no AI system should impact the person or the society. That is the main goal. So the below are the kind of activities we need to apply onto the system. Now, security and resilience. This is very important. Robust AI system because no. So just now I told you in the previous slide, we are using the to test the AI system. We are using the AI red teaming, right? AI red teaming will test your security like jailbreaking, prompt injection, those kind of things. We will test your system for the trustworthy, whether your system is trustworthy system or not. So this when you are implement these kind of 6 layers across your AI system by leveraging the governance workflows and the tools, so then this is the one of the good thing. Any questions? Okay, next slide, please. Yeah. Governance structures and accountability. Suppose when you are developing the frameworks, we need to do the governance structures and accountability. Decide where oversight sits. So we need to decide full board, audit or risk committee, or new AI subcommittee. We need to frame your governance committees like full governance committee and audit or risk committee or a new AI subcommittee. So and we need to clearly map the clear ownership, like appoint a clear ownership means maybe chief AI officer or equivalent. So we need to assign the roles like board versus the management responsibilities and create a cross-functional AI governance council. So this is the one of the thing. On the right hand side, we will see the what is the AI governance org chart options. Full board oversight, audit and risk committees, and dedicated AI committees, and chief AI officer. So this is the like governance structure and accountability. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is very important. Regulatory landscape and global considerations. So this is the one of the like how across the globe global AI regulations maps are going on. So I will provide the link. This is like this one is the so in which country or the which region across the countries following the governance frameworks and the standards and regulatory frameworks. Next slide, please. So what is the call to action? Because now, so we need to always boardrooms always like need to concentrate on the conduct and AI maturity and risk assessment. That is the primary thing. Then based on that, we need to like because what is the purpose of the AI maturity and risk assessment? The thing is that now we will get the like what is the maturity level inside the organization. If it is low, then we need to improve from low to medium and high. Like that we need to plan your AI strategy plan. Build board AI literacy program and embed AI governance into the board agendas and charters. Next is the approve ethical AI principle and risk frameworks. Just now we discussed about the 6 layers, right? The responsible AI governance framework. So we need to approve those things and review progress quarterly because the governance part AI systems are very smart because if you are doing suppose if you are implementing governance risk assessment and maturity, then today we done all these things, so we know that our there is no problem in the because my risk assessment is very like it is very high, then I no need to take care anything, and we can calmly working on other areas, and after 2 months or 3 months we'll come back, and if you do the same assessment, then your risk assessment will be very high. So because so the models will be doing internally by collecting the data on their own. So the problem is that we need to do the continuous compliance monitorings and dashboards we need to generate, and we need to watch very closely with the AI systems every day. So we need to develop the like real-time dashboards to see all these things and review progress quarterly or monthly. That is the one of the thing. The future belongs to boards that govern AI proactively. So this is the one of the takeaway for this session. Thank you all. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. So here, governance without ethics is compliance theater. Ethics without compliance is wishful thinking. You need both, and you need to start.
Mhm. Are you done, sir?
Yes, sir.
I think it's very important topic. The compliance with the AI is very limited. People have a very limited understanding of it. Okay,
Yes, yes,
and it is very important and also very critical. Okay,
yes,
so how does that now the organizations? I know the very large organizations have their own things in place and they are doing it all required things. What about the mid-tier companies, Venkat Garu? So how is that happening now? Mhm.
yeah. Mid-tier companies also because we need to concentrate. We will not start with the very enterprise level governance tools because if you are going for IBM governance tool, Watson X Gov tool, it is
Mhm.
very costly. So maybe we need to do like first we need to do the risk assessment, maturity assessment. First we need to identify. So
Mhm.
like your risk level, if it is very low, then we need to give the some plan for them how to increase from low to medium. So
Mhm.
what is the strategy plan, development plan for that? Next is risk assessment, that is one. Maturity assessment. Maturity assessment for the suppose they are using like 10 AI systems, then what is the maturity of the AI systems? Okay, they are following the governance or not. We need to check everything. And we need to the one more thing, so before going to the governance frameworks, they need to develop the enterprise AI operating model. AI operating model is very, very important.
That
That
is
is the
very important.
prerequisite. Operating model, how we are administrating your
Mhm.
AI systems. That is the
Mhm.
operating, how we are operating.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
then that is the operating model. Once we've done that one, no, operating model, then we can jump into the go for the responsible AI and governance. That is very much important. But nowadays, no, I think I don't know. In India, so maybe they are also enforcing the responsible AI. And recently, AI summit happened in India in New Delhi, right? In
Mhm.
Bharat Mandapam. So
Correct.
there, no, our honorable Prime Minister also emphasized the responsible AI framework that is called as MANAV, MANAV. It is like a responsible AI
Mhm.
principles like
Mhm.
accountability, bias or fairness, privacy, security, transparency. These are the main inclusiveness also. Like these are the things we need to implement. That is slowly. It is not like we need to
Big upfront.
purchase like a very high costly software. Not like that. Start with very small. Just doing based on Excel sheets. So we need to do the assessment and find out the maturity level accordingly. Then we need to give a plan like 60, 30, 60, 90 days plan. So within 3 months, no, we can improve our maturity level. Very,
Mhm.
very maybe one resource, maybe they can do it. Maybe in a consulting firm, they will give the consultancy,
Mhm.
consulting advices, and accordingly, then we can do.
Mhm.
So it's not like a don't worry about because do we need to like purchase any very costly software like what's in a governance? It's not like that. Only
Mhm.
all the companies now they are implementing the responsible AI principle and governance frameworks. That's it. Very simple. Very simple.
Great, sir. Now, Venkat, Dr. Venkat, there are some standard questions everybody have. Like I
Yes.
think I will ask also.
Yeah. Yeah. No problem. No issue.
Because of this AI transformations, so the fundamental shift is uh, uh, taking to the new generation models and also the business models. So, what is your advice for the employees, whether it could be fresh graduate or existing employees or something or seniors? And what is your advice for the companies of mid-size companies?
Yeah.
Larger companies, I don't ask because they have their own strengths. Okay, so mid-size and smaller organizations, the employees, and then companies. What is your
Yeah.
advice for
There
them?
are two. There are two things. One is AI adoption and AI literacy. These are the main things. If any organization go for by leveraging to get the benefit from the artificial intelligence systems, then
Mhm.
first of all the enterprise, the management level, the top
Mhm.
leadership, they need to go for the AI adoption. Okay, I need to use. I wanted to use because if they are doing some development company, I wanted
Mhm.
to use the cloud code, one of the recent product. So if
Mhm.
you are having the cloud code, no, almost 80% will be done by machine only. Only
Correct.
20% human voice side is there. So that adoption, if the boardroom is taken the decision, the investment, then it will come to that one. So once it is onboarded into the system, then we need to use the system, right? We need to consume the cloud code, right? Then AI literacy comes into picture. So all managers or the developers or any employees, they need to upskill their skills in AI. That is the AI literacy is a must.
AI,
Adoption will be taken care by the management level at the top level.
AI literacy and AI adoption.
Yeah, these are the main two things. That's it. This is like no rocket science. Only these two things are the
Mhm.
main things. Yeah,
Fantastic. So the basically, the employees must must
yeah,
go for AI literacy first
yeah.
and start using.
One more beauty part is no. So people are saying that people are afraid to go for AI learning. It is very very easy.
Mhm.
It is not that so hard. Earlier days, no, if one developer need to write any code, no, Java code and all, for
Mhm.
one page they need to write 100 lines or
Mhm.
200 lines, right?
Mhm.
But now we have the automated tools from AI. It will do, because no, whenever you saw some of the products in the market, so earlier days, no, we need to do the sprint planning, right? And we need to
Correct.
write the epics,
Agile.
user stories, and themes and everything, right?
Correct. Correct.
So when you are giving this entire thing requirements to the cloud code, it will write your user stories, tasks, subtasks, and grouped into epics and themes. Everything that part is done. Next is it will do the sprints also. Then everything end to end. Only 20% human and maybe testing and all. So
Mm-hmm.
that will be there. So that is very easy. We need to understand how the machine is doing. We
How
need
to
to
how to
we need
understand
to
how to.
understand. We need to how the machine is doing. When I am giving this input, how the machine is doing. So
Mm-hmm.
whenever you are doing an MRI scanning in the machine, no, when the patient is entered into this one, no, then
Correct.
patient doesn't know what is
I don't
happening,
know what is going
but doctor knows.
on.
So what kind of data it is collecting when the person is going, like
Yeah.
patient is going.
So this is a
So
good, yeah, this is a good, I will ask, this cloud code will also do the same level of optimization for the existing applications based on the.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, we can do the enhancement also for
Mhm.
the applications. We can
Mhm.
ask the questions to the cloud,
Okay.
saying that
Mhm.
no, this is my problem. Currently, I'm having this application. These are
Mhm.
my bottlenecks or performance issues.
Mhm.
Can you
Mhm.
solve this problem? If you
Mhm.
give that context to the cloud, then
Mhm.
cloud will give you the
Mhm.
answers. These are the recommendations. Please follow these steps to improve the performance of the application. These are the bottlenecks. You can
Mhm.
tackle the bottlenecks by following these kind of steps.
Mhm.
It will give
Mhm.
everything.
Fantastic. Fantastic, sir. So, any final thoughts before we wrap up to the audience? Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, adoption and literacy is the main thing,
Fantastic.
and
Mhm.
passion.
Mhm.
Passion should be there. It is
Of course.
not very difficult, not difficult to learn upskill AI. It is very easy, because I started my career as a database developer, SQL
Mhm.
database developer. After that, I worked on all relational data stores, coding, administration. Then I jumped in the data warehouse. It based on the technology evolution, right? So once RDBMS is hot favorite, then data warehouse, then Ralph Kimball model and all. Then no, by 2010, so the cloud computing emerged into the market. That time I was there for the cloud data architect on all the ecosystems like Azure, AWS, and GCP. Then
Mhm.
this AI comes now. So since that time on, I am starting developing on the ML models and the AI models, predictive models and predictive prescriptive models. Now generative AI system. Generative AI system is the, one of the best model, and we are having the multi-model AI system also in future.
Mhm.
The next maybe
Mhm.
2027. So
Mhm.
currently generative AI system, it is generating the text, image, and video, right? It will
Correct.
not do this simultaneously. It will
Correct.
not generate a movie at the same
Mhm.
time. But
Correct.
multimodal AI systems will
It will do
generate
it
all the three things at once.
at one side. That's great, sir. Fantastic. And I think very nice insights, Dr. Venkat. So thank you for joining all the way and giving a wonderful lecture. So this is a very intensive and also very focused program, a Global AI Leadership Summit for 3.5 hours, something like that. So thank you very much for joining all the way. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, please post to Dr. Venkat, and he will be happy to answer. And in case if you want to, if you watch it later, just post the questions. We make sure that these questions get answered. So thank you very much, Dr. Venkat. Thank you, and have a nice time. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for joining this session.
Okay. Yeah.
Happy AI.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Take care. Okay. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank all the participants for wonderful participation and the involvement in the discussion. So, thank you all speakers. Wonderful lectures. I really enjoyed hearing and moderating the show, and organizers, so Jyoti and other team members. So thank you everyone. And the main purpose of this Global AI Leadership Summit is to bridge the gap between the technology and also the leadership, so that they can have a meaningful insights for the people, from the meaningful insights how to take the AI journey. And through strategy is the product um, uh, what we are promoting the event. The through strategy is enterprise strategy management solution, which help you to do strategy analysis, formulate the strategies, and execute strategies successfully. So this is how. If you would like to know more about Flu strategy, please feel free to write. And I would like to thank all the speakers once again. And I take this as an opportunity to thank you one and all. Thank you very much.